T-minus 30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
You are now tapped in. Coolest Reptile podcast in the world, episode 393. I'm your boy, MJ. Welcome to this late night Trap Talk episode. How's everyone doing out there, man? Welcome to a beautiful Thursday night. Hope you're having a beautiful week. This is your first time hanging out with us. What is good? If you're into keeping reptiles, breeding, keeping, admiring, all the above, this is the podcast to be a part of. And if you're somebody always on YouTube, you're going to want to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and then select all right next to it, and you will always be notified on any podcast I drop here. Thank you for all the love and support. If you listen to Trap Talk Reptile Podcast on all the major audio platforms such as Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Thank you for, like I said, thank you for all the support, man. You spending your life with me means everything, and just having fun growing with all you and all my trappers. You guys are my heart. If you're looking for exclusive content, if you really want to be a part of something awesome, something that's growing, but more importantly, something that's just, interacting with the people who love animals, they come hang out with the Trap Talk Patreon family and the V-Unit family, man. Go down to the very first link you see in the description below. Click on it. You click on it, you'll get a link to the Discord, and you'll get a link to the Instagram group chat that we have going on, and hang out with all the trappers, man. Trap Talk Patreon family. I love them so much. Appreciate everyone who's a part of this. And then, you guys who tapped into the last episode or on Monday night know that Sunday is going to be our very first V-Unit and Trap Family Zoom call where we're all hanging out together. It's going to be great. It's like a lot of your guys' chance out there, Trap Family and V-Unit family, to share what you got going on and hear what you guys have to say. So it's going to be great. Shout out to my boy Emilio, Big Villarino. Go follow him on Instagram as well. It's my dog. I also want to say that tonight's episode, again, shout out to everyone at the Early Birds. I'll get you guys in just a second. I'll hang out. Thank you. Live chats are popping right now, and they should be. But I do want to say that tonight's episode is brought to you by TOFAUTI Royals of Africa. A man in the Mandarin game has the Mandarin for sure. Fire-ass projects over at TOFAUTI Royals. My man TJ does not play around and force to be reckoned with. Shout out to my man TJ. Follow him on Instagram, TOFAUTI Royals of Africa. Also, tonight's episode is brought to you by Mark Bailey over at Mark Bailey Reptiles. Head over to MORPH Market, follow Mark Bailey on MORPH Market, and just be ready for that heat. Mark Bailey he don't play, bro. It's OG in the game for sure. Put some respect on his name. Dog, too. Mark Bailey. Last but not least, tonight's episode is brought to you by Sim Container. If you got eggs, put them inside of a Sim box. Less steps, less stress. If it's a Sim, it's a win. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to John over at Sim Container. And, man, super stoked. Many reasons why I'm super stoked. My tree monitor eggs on day 154. That means something needs to happen here pretty soon. Exciting, also nerve-wracking. Also exciting and nerve-wracking. More exciting, but I don't know nerve-wracking. I don't know why, but either way, Dave Levison, ladies and gentlemen, he's here in the flesh here on this Thursday night. What's up, buddy?
Not much. I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. Feels wrong. Sorry. Yeah, look at the professionalism every week, but here it is. I'm happy to be here.
That's why we have sound checks, buddy. We adjust and do all that prior, but it's okay. You know what?
Perfect.
We do things the Dave way. What's going on, man? How you living? How's everything for Dave Levison?
It's good, man. Just still catching up since Arlington. I think I got a lot done this week, but I'm not sure anymore.
How was Arlington?
It was fun, man. It was good getting over to Bill's house on Friday. Got to see some people I usually don't get to see. I was happy.
I love seeing there at Bill. I finally got to see you at Bill's, his shindig that he has always the night before Arlington goes off, and you're with Chad Holker and his girlfriend Janie. Shout out to them too. The whole vibe, everything was great. Just the new faces I saw at Bill's, is why I love going to Bill's, because Bill, he delegates that really well. But I'm pretty sure Bill's going to want you there if you can next time. I know your time's valuable, but your presence is something I love being around. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I'll be there next year.
How's everything though? So as far as you in tonight's episode, I mean, I know you're not full on grasp on knowing every ball python breeder out there because there's a lot of them, but this guy right here is special to me. We go way back. I told you when I first got into this, he's one of the first accounts I was following. And then, throughout time and throughout where we're at now, I just seen him sell a lot of his collection, and he's kind of hinted here and there that he's phasing out. And this, I got to say, this is the first episode I've been bringing on someone who's not only someone I've been following for a long time, but someone who's an actual good friend of mine. And we're talking about him leaving the hobby. So I don't know how to feel about tonight. I know you've seen a lot of this, not only just on the outside looking in, but just your own friends coming in and out of the hobby, correct? I mean, is this something that is just a part of what we do, you would say, Dave?
Yeah, it happens, man. And some people will surprise you sometimes.
Yeah, so either way, I'm looking forward to what we have to talk about. Now, there's a new gene we're going to be talking about tonight. Khalil has a lot of stuff he wants to share as far as stuff that he's been working with for the last handful of years. And I kind of told you what that gene was, and you sent me something inappropriate, but it's okay. Either way, I'm looking forward to tonight. Can we say hi to people in the live chats? Because the live chats are jumping right now. Are you cool with that?
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's going to be good.
Is there a
I'm
lag?
happy to be here. I got that energy coming, man.
Is there a lag? Is there a little bit of a lag, or am I coming in okay?
Maybe a little lag now and again. Let's see how this goes. If it gets rough, it's probably me.
Okay. What we'll do when I start the intro, I'm going to go ahead and just go and exit, come right back in, and that should fix it. All right?
Let's try it.
All right, cool. Anyways, early bird, that's good. If you're in the live chats, do not be shy. Please, if you think tonight's episode is worth of any super chats, drop that super chat, especially if you have a question or a topic, anything to relate to what either Khalil or Dave or myself are talking about. Don't be shy. Drop the super chats. Let's go. Early bird, my dog, Mike. 1776 Exotics, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. My homegirl, Lindsay, Pico Pythons. What is good, homegirl? She was at Arlington. I normally always see Lindsay at an Arlington show. Shout out to the homegirl, Lindsay. Thanks for being here. Ricky Bobby SRT, my boy Shane, above all scales, Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Be ready for his clothing line. About to hit the trap really soon. Do you know I'm about to have a clothing line sponsorship soon? It's pretty sick, huh? Well, actually, we are. I mean, obviously, whatever I have to wear, you're going to have to wear too. And obviously, you look hotter than I do in a lot of senses. So we'll go ahead and we'll go with that. Sick. Thank you, Shane, my boy. North Star Exotics in the building. B-Unit family. What is good? Dennis Smith, the Serpent Smith. This is my shooting coach. This guy don't play. I'm learning. What is going on over there already? Dogs knocking shit over? God damn it. Didn't your dogs just get...
It's okay. I'll put a stop to it.
Didn't your dogs just get his nads taken off right now, like recently? Poor thing.
Yeah, Tuesday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Jaffe
it's like
Exotics.
nothing ever happened.
Jaffe Exotics, one of my favorite Canadians for sure in the building. Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Julio Fulio in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Appreciate you. Chantel in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Cruz Family Constrictors in the building. What is good? Trap Talk Patreon member. It's my dog. How you been? Hit me up. It's been a minute. Joe, new Trap Talk Patreon member. What is good? Thanks for tapping in. Levi. Oh my God, we got trouble. Levi's in the building. What is good? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Marball Python's in the building. What's up, homie? Thanks for tapping in. Let's see. Eric's More Factory. B-Unit all day, every day. Big Wiz Constrictors in the building. What is good, Wiz? Thanks for tapping in. Rammaries. Wow, that sounds sexual as hell. What is? Am I reading that right? What is happening?
Looks right to me.
If someone's getting kidnapped, we have to fix the chaos, Dave. What's happening? Can you delegate that maybe a little bit?
I'm going to leave and come back, right?
Yeah, you know what? Dave, we'll see you in a bit. How about that?
I'm just kidding.
I'll love you to death. I'm sorry. Oh my God, Dave Levison. Rammaries Royals. Thanks for being here. It means a lot. Appreciate it. Heathen Hatchery, my homie Brian. Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Don G in the building. DNA Snakes. Thanks for being here. The General, my dog right here. OG homie. Trap Talk Patreon member, but also good homie. Day one homie. We go way back. 2017 type shit. Thanks for being here, General. Appreciate you. Go give him a follow too. MORPH Operations, Morph Operations on Instagram. Herbert, HB Reptiles in the building. What is good? Big T's in the building. What is good? Bradley in the homie in the building. What is good? Gene or John? John. I'm going to go with John. Sounds French, right? Or is it Gene? What do you guys think? Can I call you Carlos? Because Carlos is a sick name too. Carlos in the building. Thanks for, dude. JD in the building. What is up? Trap Talk Patreon member all day, every day. Johnny Python's in the building. Another cool Canadian player. Thanks for tapping in. Constricting Creations in the building. What is good? Thanks for tapping in. Miggy's Morphs in the building. What is good? Thanks for tapping in. And let's see. Windy City Morphs in the building. What's up, player? Appreciate you so much. 217 Pythons in the building. What is good? Orange County Condos in the building. Trap Talk Patreon member. And dude, we're gonna end this in style. We gotta get ready. We're gonna get going, man. And I gotta say, one of my favorite Texas ball python homies who'll be staying on the low, but hey, that's only gonna happen for so much longer. But I don't know, because you're coming on the show. You know that Golden Boy Reptiles. Go follow him on Instagram and be ready because he's coming on Trap Talk. We already agreed. We just need to pick a date, guys. It's time to go. Dave Levison. Let's see how he is. Dave,
is it better now?
I will find out. I mean, listen, you know how things really happen once we go live. So God bless you and God bless everyone in the chats and God bless our guests. It is game time. David Levison, are you ready for this? Okay.
I'm ready. Sorry.
Everyone out there, please. I need more energy from you than Dave's giving me. If you don't mind, bring the heat in the live chats, but do what you got to do to stay hydrated. Do what you got to do to get your mind right. We are bringing my boy on, one of the very first guests to come on Trap Talk when all this shit went down. Khalil, 514 Reptiles. Let's go. Good. You ready for do more in the future? Trap Talk podcasts?
Yes.
Man.
Only Trap Talk. Exclusive.
Yes.
Exclusive.
Oh.
So stop calling us.
Rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the crop, gotta love it or not. I'm hot from the hop to the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with the rub the spot, get the club to pop. When I come up with everybody, we do it. Everybody, we do it. Do it. Do it.
We're live. Khalil, 514 Reptiles. How you doing, buddy?
What's up, brother? How are you?
Good to have you back.
Yeah, nice to be back. It's been a minute.
I mean, you've been here a handful of times, but man, I feel like it's been a
Yeah.
while. I
Yeah,
always
it's been.
see you there, man. Thank you so much for being here tonight. How you doing?
For sure, man. Thanks for having me. I'm doing good, man. Can't complain. I just flew into Texas. I landed like an hour ago.
Yeah,
So yeah,
you're one
I
of my,
got to my
you're one of my favorite Canadians, but you've been in Texas like frequently, like throughout the last, I don't know, a year or so. You've been flying to Texas.
yeah, beginning of this year I spent the first 4 months in Texas. Originally I'm from Canada and Texas. I grew up in Texas too.
That's
I
right.
did high school and yeah.
You got family down there already. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah. My house. I'm in my cousin's room / living room.
Dave Levison, Khalil, Dave Levison. Have you guys met?
What's up, Dave?
Have you guys ever officially met?
How you doing, bud?
Good. Yourself, man?
I'm good. Have we had like a thing before maybe, or is this our first thing?
No, we chatted at Tilly.
I thought
What
so.
year?
I thought so.
Tilly last October. Yeah, last October I was there. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Yeah, I
right,
didn't go
yeah,
in March.
I remember. Yeah.
Wait.
No, I
Last,
don't think so. Takes a second. See,
last
now we're
October.
good.
Last October, was that the episode? Dave,
Yeah.
I slipped you that chocolate. You didn't know what type of chocolate it was, and then that was that night, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you had the
Yeah,
podcast in the
that night, I'm pretty
lobby,
sure.
and then me and Will came on.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was great.
and Dave was there too.
Those are fun nights.
Yeah.
I was into it.
Great nights.
Man, okay, but Julio, yeah, listen, I'm just wondering, because you and I talk, but then we kind of go sometimes a few weeks without talking, and then we talk, and so I don't really know current situation wise what's happening with 514 Reptiles. If there's something behind you always being in Texas now, or you maybe trying to become a citizen. So let's kind of clear some stuff up, man. Why don't we start from just what's going on with 514 Reptiles' ball python collection? You've been selling a lot of ball pythons, so let's talk to that.
Yeah. So, I mean, the simple answer to that is I am basically liquidating all of 514 Reptiles. I'm not holding anything back. At the beginning I was going to reduce the collection and just keep maybe like a rack and a bit and just kind of work on the stuff that I really like and go on with that.
Right.
And then eventually now I decided I'm just gonna go on and move the whole collection. A little bit on the wrong timing to do that with how the market is right now, but it just so happens that I have to do it right now. So yeah.
It's kind of like a situation where your hands are tied.
Yeah, pretty much. We'll get into it, but it's a mix of like, lifestyle, health, where I live, what I do. So it kind of it's kind of all
Links.
yeah, it's all coming together for me. Some things come together for something new to happen. This is all coming together for something to leave, but something else might happen, a new chapter, I guess, if you want to call it.
Okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
So let's kind of talk about how it is parting with things right now. Like, how are you? Like, first and foremost, I know it's a lot easier said than done. You don't just snap your fingers and sell the shit that you need to sell. So I'm curious what your I don't know what your angle is as far as trying to let things go. Or is it majority of it like leaving in groups, that type of thing?
I was expecting to move it at the beginning as a group, like the whole collection.
Mhm.
And then I had a few people reach out. Brian Barczyk was one of them. A few guys reach out to buy the whole collection. We couldn't come. Well, actually, not that we couldn't come to a deal. Just no one wanted to put out that kind of money right away.
Right.
So now I just like split it up. People message me. I send them a list, and then they take small groups. 1 snake, 2 snakes. Like today, I shipped out. I shipped out. I dropped off to get shipped out on Monday. 17 snakes. So one guy took 4, one guy took 4, one guy took 3, one guy took 1. So just like a bunch of different projects going out for sure. And it's been okay. I mean, look, I guess I have the advantage that my entire collection is up for grabs. It's not just like the stuff that I don't want. So there's some really good stuff to be to add to people's collection. So that's the good part about it. Yeah, it's not that bad. It's not like I'm doing okay. I don't like, obviously I do this full time, and I don't need another income. Like I still live off of it right now.
Now, other than you having to do what you have to do, like, what do you feel like? What you're feeling right now in the ball python game, like, are you? Obviously, there's things you'll miss, right?
Yeah.
You see, nothing's ever saying you'll never come back because you're young and you are concentrating on your health. So there's future. It is giving you endless opportunities in a sense. But I'm curious how you feel overall. Like, kind of like Will was talking about. It's like a bloodbath right now, and people not really experienced or fucking losing their shits. And then also you have other people chopping projects and just fucking brutally just not giving a fuck. So what's your feeling like about right now overall, the ball python?
Yeah.
Hold back, please.
Yeah, look, with ball pythons, how I feel, let's start with me. Like it's sad. Like I'm pretty sad about it, right? Realistically speaking, like I've been doing this since like 2014 about. Some of my best friends are like I've met in this hobby, and they've become like, for example, like Will from RCR, or Mike Bennett from R&B, or you, or like some of these guys that I've met. They've become like some of my closest friends, right? Like my closest friends, and I talk to them more than guys that I was their best man at their weddings, and I see them more. Like Will lives 4 hours away, and I've seen him more this summer than I've seen the guy that I was his best man that lives 3 minutes away from my house.
And when I met all you guys, it didn't seem like you lived 4 hours away. It seemed like you're just like that's just another day of you being there. You know what I mean? And then it also made the day so awesome to hang out with all you guys together. But it definitely, I could see how close you guys are. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, with Will, I mean, look, Will mentored me. It started out as like kind of like a mentorship. We met at a CRB at a Canadian at the Toronto event, and we met outside. Like it was like 1 a.m. We just started chatting outside the hotel room in the lobby, and then we just hit it off. And then he kind of showed me how to do things, move things around, and what to do. And he just, I mean, that's Will, right, with everybody. But we kind of kicked it off, and now like me and Will get on the phone call like 2-3 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like every day he calls me and we chat for like 2-3 hours. So we've become really good friends, and a bunch of other guys have become really good friends. Tristan, Mike Bennett. There's you. I talk to Miguel very often. Ozzy, I became good friends with Ozzy. I went on vacation with him. Mark Mandic. I mean, we're not like good friends, but I mean, I'm close to Mandic. He calls me like once or twice a week. We chat. So I'm definitely gonna miss it, and it's the next chapter of my life is scary. I don't know who is gonna be there and what is gonna be there. But I mean, I know that like they're all like all these people that I say right now, they're gonna stay friends for life. It's not just the snakes that are tying us for sure. They're gonna stay. They're gonna stay friends for life.
Especially if you like somehow move over here and you're only 3-hour flight away from me. Oh my man.
Yeah. Well, the goal with one of the goals with selling the collection is to be able to travel more often. And then that way I can fly out to California. I don't have to worry about taking care of the 350 snakes that I have, or fly out to Mexico or to Florida or Texas, whatever it is. And I have to worry. Part of the so part of the reason that I decided to move on from ball pythons, well, one of them is that a few years ago in 2021, I had two close, like near-death situations. The first one is I went into a coma for like 4 or 5 days, and at that point, like it was during COVID. I was in a COVID ward at the hospital, so no one can come see you. You're alone. Um, it felt like shit. Someone else died in the room. It felt like kind of like when you're just sitting there alone for like a week and a half in the hospital. Everything feels weird. These different feelings that you've never felt before come to you. Yeah. And not to be like, I'm not trying to be like depress everybody here, but just kind of give you an example of like how it led up to this. And then at the end of that year, I was having chest pains and a bunch of stuff. And then I mean, they still don't know, but we know it was probably a heart attack that I had. And then ever since those things happened, life is different. You start to view things a little bit differently. I've been kind of like working. When am I going to make it? When am I going to, become a millionaire and pay off my debts and pay this and grow? And like, I'm not traveling. I'm not doing things that I love. I'm always kind of living in this like stressful situation. And I was like, you just never know whether you're healthy or not. Like, you just never know what can happen. And I never I'm always waiting to travel. I'm always waiting to do different things and to go and hang out. And I love just leaving home and traveling. As you like, I'm always trying to go somewhere, right? Like hanging out with people, have fun with people and stuff. So when I was like, I can't really do it that much with the snakes, I was like, maybe it's time for me to move on from that and be able to go and do the things that I really want to do. Like I'm planning a trip to Bali in like March, April for like 6 weeks, like a solo trip. Yeah. So those are the kind of things that I want to do.
So and you're trying to make your life less stress as possible. I see.
Yeah, less stress, exactly. So anything live, I'm trying to. I mean, I'm get rid of for lack of better words, but to not have in my life. I'm trying to get rid of anything that's live. I've been wanting a dog, but I'm like, it's not time for a dog. Like I just want none of those responsibilities right now.
Yeah. You're young, man. How old are you again? You're 37?
37, yeah. I'm 38 next month. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, you're getting signs. At least you're, some people don't even get signs, and they just drop dead. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And look, like, I mean, I'm telling you the story of what's happening, but it's not like I'm not depressed about it. I'm not like sad about it. Like I'm very optimistic about, you know what I mean? Like these things led me to a new like kind of whirlwind of things that I like. I am way more into health. I'm getting better. I feel better.
But Khalil, you got to admit, getting to where you're at now is not easy because it's when you're that fucked up, it's easy to dwell on not being positive. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
I'd have fought a little bit of depression because I've been there, bro. Like I was actually fucking in the hospital during COVID, and it made me mentally kind of fucked up a little bit, just being alone and just like being really like in like a clouded fucking moment, you know?
Yeah, dude, it's heavy. It's definitely heavy on the mind, you know. And for a while, I was, I mean, I still go through it sometimes. I have my ups and downs, and some days where the pain is, because I have a lot of like pain from my nervous system. It's kind of intertwined with the issues. So, and that's what I was doing in Texas. I was doing a treatment the whole time while I was down here earlier, and so the pain gets you. It's a mind game for sure. Some days are not easy, other days are better, but you got to keep positive. You got to do. It takes a lot of work. It takes daily work to get out to do what you got to do, and people in your life, the right people. Luckily, I have my brother, which is a super positive person. I mean, you've met my brother as well, and
Yeah, love him.
um,
To Sam.
yeah,
my
yeah,
guy.
yeah. He helps me a lot. It's good to have someone like that in your life, and all my other friends too. Like everyone is super supportive. Everyone that I know is super super supportive. Like I remember this was before all of this. Like one year I was feeling like shit. It was like in the summer, I think, or it was in the winter. I was feeling like absolute shit, bro. And then I got on the phone with Mike Bennett and Manny from Operation Python. Mike Bennett's 9 hours away, and Manny is 6 hours away. And I got on the phone with them. I was like, yo, I don't feel good. I was like really like just telling Manny how I'm feeling. Bro, the next day I don't know where I was. I went to grab lunch or something. I come back home. There's like a Ontario plate in my driveway. I'm like, who the fuck is this? I opened my door. All the boys came from Ontario. Like a 10-hour drive. He rounded everybody up and he came to my house,
Wow.
So the support's there. The support's real. So, it's the best thing.
I mean, Dave could definitely relate to like long lifetime relationships with people you met at a lobby at a reptile show. I mean, Dave, we had known each other, but I think the long night conversations you and I've had heart to hearts all stems from those lobby hangouts. I want to say.
No, if anything, man, like you said, there's a lot of good people in this hobby. It was great having you, but you leaving the hobby doesn't really change your placement where you're at. This hobby is probably one of the best places to be in when things go wrong. So, like I said, I know you got your friends from the other part of your life, but like you said, nothing really changes. Your daily routine's just going to be different.
Yeah, exactly. No, 100%. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. And you know what? It's good that you said that the hobby is there for those situations, because honestly, if it wasn't for this industry, if it wasn't for what I was doing, I wouldn't have been able to leave for 4 months and take care of my stuff. I wouldn't have been able to, so I used to own restaurants up to 2020, and then I lost all my restaurants during COVID because they were at the airport in Montreal. And I had the snakes as a hobby, and then all of a sudden with COVID, the COVID explosion, and I was already a collection of like 300 snakes. It worked out perfect for me. And I've been blessed to not have to work for the past 4 years and just stay home and work, like not have a job, or taking care of the snakes at home and stuff. And right now, dealing with my health, where I have to do all these different things, all different like physicians and clinics. I'm lucky that I don't have a job that takes away like a 9 to 5 or all day long. We're just the snakes, where you clean when you can and you sell when you can.
So many people are a lot less fortunate, bro. Like a lot. Like
100%, bro.
You have people whose jobs kill them. Like
100%.
I'm serious. Like this job, you hear that job's gonna kill you. Like it's kind of like a little phrase.
Yeah, that was me. That was
real.
me with my restaurants.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like I had a nightmare last night that like my restaurant was opening up at 4 a.m. and my employees weren't coming in, and I don't know what. Like I literally had this nightmare like last night. It still haunts me because I had 3 restaurants with like 60 employees. It was one of the most stressful things in my life.
Yeah, I mean, and listen, we're going to kind of get off this topic, here pretty shortly, because I really want to get into the positive side of what you are excited with the ball pythons are.
Yes.
But I want to say, like, what you think you could maybe advise anyone that could maybe prevent from maybe this happening, or maybe do you feel like your situation isn't preventable? Like, is it just something that just happened, or do you really truly feel like the stress, the overworking is what caused you to kind of get to this stage?
Yeah, I think it's a mix of different things. So I think your personality is the upfront, right? So the way you deal with stress, the way you navigate through stress and you handle stress is the number one most important thing, right? And I was a person that I was born in a war. I grew up in a certain family situation where I was very anxious, and I had a lot of I didn't know how to deal with stress. I wasn't brought up to know how to deal with stress. So I dealt with stress very, very okay, to give you an example, for the first 5 years of my life, I was dealing with my employees like I was Gordon Ramsay. Okay, like that's basically what I thought the restaurant business was, And then I ended up, doing shrooms and calming down and getting to be a better person with that. And I learned how to cope with stress and learn how to talk to people better and be a better person overall. That's the first part. Number two is your health. A lot of people, what you eat, like there's the stress, which is really, really important, your sleep, and then there is the food aspect. The food aspect is I just didn't give a shit all my life. When people tell me like, oh, that's not really great food, I'm like, oh, life is short. Well, two things: life is short, don't make it shorter, and a lot of people suffer before they die. Let me just put it that way for you. So just take care of your shit, eat correctly. Don't go on a crazy fast food diet like I did for a long time, and you'll be okay. That's really from the health perspective to avoid these things.
Yeah. And it's funny what you say, and not funny at all. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say it's funny, but it's crazy the way you say, don't make your life even shorter what it is. Some people would rather just stick to the fast food and just the shit that actually makes them feel miserable, because they don't. I don't know. It's just kind of a fucked up. It's not easy being a human. I just want to say it can be like,
no, it's not.
Hard, you know what I mean?
But on the other side of that, it's like it's nice, when
David,
you eat.
How do you keep your figure, David?
1.5 meals a day, and I have apples at night with a little bit of peanut butter.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's the way to go.
This dude will whip out a Speedo like at a Daytona. It looked like he's been training for that fucking moment. It's weird.
No, I starved myself the month leading up to it. I look good till about November, and then I start putting on weight in December. Yeah, I do the routine every year. I probably lose a bit of life every year, losing that weight for that Speedo. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't know. You're pretty good on July 4th. Like, I've seen your posts.
Yeah,
so you're still good around that time of the year.
Yeah, no, you're right. That's about when I start putting in check, and I'm glad you noticed, buddy.
All right, so Dave, I before we get into this huge topic here, I just was kind of going back and forth in the Patreon group chat on Instagram, and I don't know, man. I want to be more positive and believing people when they say they have a new gene, but it's like, fuck, here's this come out of nowhere, and so, but Leo told me, like, bro, tonight I want to kind of talk about something that I've had under my belt for over a handful of years, and I'm gonna send you some pictures. He's like, it's a new gene, and I was like, oh man. But it's Khalil, my boy, so it's like I definitely want to give this attention. But what's your interest with new genes in the ball python game as of 2023, Dave?
Me personally?
You personally, yes.
Honestly, just that they get properly developed early on. I always make the joke that if you're not making a clown version of your new gene, it's got to be something so incredibly extreme compared to anything else. No one's going to take it credible. I've had some genes here that I didn't think would do anything too crazy. Other people worked with them, and now I'm playing catch up to them, and I've had them here the whole time. So, properly managing things early on, showing everybody what they want to see, giving them confidence in the gene before they invest in it.
Oof, love it. Now, Khalil, what's your now? If we could just paint the picture like you're not leaving, which that'd be my dream, right? But let's just say that we're talking about this project as if you're not leaving. So I want to hear what the plans would have been or what they would be, and where you stand on making sure this is a new gene. How you're for sure as we're looking at pictures. I don't know if there's a certain picture you want me to start with either. I don't know if you want me to go straight to a visual clown or should I go to like the het versions or what would you like?
Whatever you put up, I'll tell you. I'll talk about them.
Okay, go ahead, Dave. What do you say?
Yeah.
Oh, I see we got to build it up, buddy. We don't want to peak at the end and then show everybody what they don't want to see. Let's a little bit of build up here, man.
So let's get into what the gene is and all that. Let's get into it, Khalil.
Right. So a few years ago, like maybe 5 years ago, I bought an orange dream fire het clown female from a guy out in BC. The guy sent it to me, one of the nicest orange dream fires I've ever seen in my life. I was like, this thing is popping, And you probably have a picture of her there, and she's in a tub. So I saw that snake, and I was like, okay, like something's weird with this snake. And then he's like, oh, this is her sibling, an orange dream fire clown. I was like, okay, like this is pretty crazy, Mm-hmm. And didn't really make much of it. I just kind of I put her there. Yeah, that's her right there. So then that year I put, well, when she was old enough, big enough, I put a pastel DG clown to her, and then made a bunch of combos with that. And there's some combos in there like a pastel. Now I call the gene the swirl, which I was having a very hard time. I never like I've been working on this for like 5 years. I never named it. I just had it. I never like I showed it off online. I would post babies, but I never like said this is the name. This is this. This is this. I'm working on this, right?
Right.
Now I have to, because now I'm selling the collection. I kind of need to place this project somewhere. Yeah, so this is one of her babies. I still have this female. So this is what I believe to be a firefly swirl, het DG 66% het clown. Yeah, so that was it. And then yeah, so honestly, the swirl name, I wasn't sure what to name it. And then I was talking to the guy that I originally bought it from, and he was kind of going through a divorce, was selling some of his collection. That's a pastel swirl on its own. And he's like, oh yeah, it's a good, but I haven't really done anything with it in like 5-6 years now. And I was like, okay, like that's a long time not to do anything with the project. And he's like, oh, I was thinking of calling it like the stout, which is like because he likes beer. And I was like, I don't really know about that, to be honest with you. And he wasn't really like, he wasn't really around. I tried to have this conversation with him. He wasn't really answering me. And I was like, yo, like I gotta market this thing, and I think like I can put up a name for it. So I started with the swirl. So this is stuff that I didn't make. He sent it to me originally. He's like, that's what I have so far on it. And that's just the spot nose single gene swirl. So far,
this is from the guy who originally sent you this project. Is what
yes, yeah. His name is Billy. I don't know his real last name. His name is Billy Digitize on Facebook.
Billy Digitize. You don't know his real name.
Yeah, I don't know his last name. That's what he calls himself online. I think whenever I like sent him a payment, I figured out what his name was, but it was like I don't remember. It's like 5-6 years ago. I don't remember what his last name was.
All right.
Nice guy, but I think he was just going through some stuff and then continue with it. So yeah, spot no swirl. So far, it's dominant. I will actually probably, because I have one more season. I will be making more. I will be doing another season, which is this upcoming winter, and I'm hoping to go for the like supers. So like super swirl DG clowns is my goal.
Okay, and this is another spot nose swirl, right?
Yeah, same one.
Same one, just bigger,
Yeah.
big. And then now there's a visual swirl clown, right?
Yeah, OD fire swirl clown.
And you, other than markings, possibly, what else do you think maybe makes this a swirl, or what would actually make this?
Honestly, just the way like it kind of like you had all these hooks kind of going around, and like it's very, I guess I wanted to call it like swirly, not in the clown version, but this is beautiful, but not in the clown version, but outside the clown version. I just found it had a lot, like it was very busy pattern, a lot of like what I call swirls in my painting times when I used to do art, and that's what I would call swirls, that movement. So I was like, sounds decent, and I named that. All my friends made fun of me, by the way, like Will and Mike Bennett. They're like, I can't say stuff on a podcast of what they told me, but they made fun of me.
I don't think Dave meant to make funny, but he made fun of you too, as he.
I didn't make fun of him. It was just perfect timing.
He said, "I can get my own swirl." And he's taking a shit, and you showed me.
Yeah, well, you know what? It looks better than shit though. But yeah, swirly shit.
Yeah. I said chocolate swirly, by the way, buddy.
Yeah.
I didn't say shit swirl.
You know what? Someone should make the chocolate swirl, and we'll let Dave decide what that name is going to be.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Dave, comments on this swirl gene?
Oh, no. I liked what it did just in the pastel by itself, too. I like that darker blacks it brings, and it does distort the pattern a good bit. Like I said, finding the right genes to complement it. I dig it. I like it when I like to see more patterns. I like what it did with the spot nose, and I don't know if it's just the picture, but it looked like it changed the color a little bit too, almost like a little vanilla was added to it.
Yeah, you could. It makes it brighter. So if you want, MJ, I sent you some pictures of me holding some in my hand. There's a really nice bright.
Where'd you send it? Instagram or to my text?
Couple of nice DGs. I can reset them to you real quick if you want.
You just text them to me, because I don't Instagram when I'm on here is weird with pictures sometimes. Let me see. Let me see if it came up.
I can find you here, Michael. I have you as Michael. I should probably change it to MJ.
You can call him that. You're close enough friend. You can call him Michael. No one else can. Maybe David can, but that would sound weird.
So here, let's look at. So this is.
Are you texting it?
Yeah, I'm texting it right now. Sent. So it did. So I made some DG stuff with it as well this season. So I made like a fire desert ghost swirl. I want to say it's Posse Yellow Belly. I'm not sure yet. Double head G stripe clown. I made a few from that, and it looks like that. Like he'll put it up in a second, and it's nuts. It's one of the craziest project, one of the craziest animals. Like in person, it's crazy what it looks like, you know. So I mean, I was pretty excited about this, and that's why I kind of want to do another season of it. And I have two visual females like with the swirl gene in it, so I want to try to go see for the supers if it does like something like super crazy. So I'm definitely so that's a yellow belly swirl DG, and I have yeah, I have it next to like a regular yellow belly DG. I have another picture, but that's fine. We don't have to show it. But the fire one, which is super bright.
Well, here's the other one. This is a bright. I think this is the one with fire. Maybe I'm assuming.
Yes, so that's the fire swirl double DG double head G stripe clown.
Oh, I
So
do that. Hold on, my bad. Let me bring it back.
yeah, go.
So I need a Jamie. God damn it.
That was a good one too. Only saw it for a second.
There you go. Sorry. You're good. Go ahead. Continue.
Yeah, and that in person, it's nuts. I mean, I mean, you work with DG, right? They like sometimes you just can't, and like and it almost looks like it's glowing in person. You know, it's a really nice snake, a very nice snake. So I had that one up for sale. Someone bought it and then they backed out last minute. Um, Honestly, I'm feeding him like I'm keeping him just for this upcoming season because I would use him. Although both females have fire in them, but it's yeah. But yeah, I mean, this guy is just legit. And then I also, just so you see it without DG, there's the yellow belly swirl. I sent you a non-DG version.
I think this one right here, right?
Yeah, that's just a, you can see better like if you see the sides. So that's just a yellow belly swirl double head DG clown female.
Yeah, I'll pull up the one. I have the one that shows the sides right here.
Yeah. So that's it. I mean, it's a cool project. I think there's gonna be a lot to do with it. I think there's a lot of potential there. Does it look like another gene? I don't know. So far, I haven't really seen the same replications, but I don't know. If Dave, if you want to chime in, if you think there's something already out there that's this, you can.
Not necessarily. I'm just praying that the super form's not a white snake.
Oh yeah, I would. That would suck. Like
No.
like a mystic type.
Yeah, no, I'm just kind of fucking with you on that. No, honestly, I like the way it changed the pattern. I like it. That could be treated like an enhancer gene, and it's going to distort the pattern in a way.
Yeah.
I mean, just for a 2-gene yellow belly, you usually don't see that kind of back pattern on it.
Yeah.
There are some characteristics, but again, it's changed it enough that you really can't compare it to anything, I guess you can say, other than the color tone.
Okay. Yeah.
So-
Yeah. That's it. We'll see what happens. I'm gonna try to work it. And I have some available. Obviously, I have some visual males head clown and some normal double heads and triple heads, and they're there. If anybody wants
Yeah,
to
that's
work
fine.
with them, there's some cool stuff there for sure.
So I'm
Yeah,
curious.
no, actually, on that fire, I like the background on that DG, that kind of like, I don't know, like grayish kind of smoky color instead of that like straight black. I thought that was kind of cool looking.
Yeah. It's cool. It's almost like a smoky ray of light out of the back. It's dope. Appreciate it.
That's
We-
cool, man. Look forward to what you do for this year.
Where you at as far as putting some marketing behind it and whatnot? Because I haven't really heard of it, bro, at all. Until, I mean, in my job, not really like, I'm not
Yeah.
going to find out. I'm just
Not
curious.
more than just my Instagram stories and a couple of posts. I mean, I've just been so busy with everything lately, and like I haven't posted YouTube in a while, and just kind of just posting it on there, And like I've spoken to a couple of people that are interested that wanna like work in it. Like I'm not trying to be super loud about it because I haven't really made like the super, or haven't like if it is a white snake, like that would suck. Like really, that's a real thing, right? Like I would be selling people with a super of like a bell. Like that wouldn't be too cool, So I really wanted to try the super first, and hopefully I make it, but I'm not like, like I have some people that I've hooked up with some like, females with it. But I'm not like going crazy, right? It's not like, oh, I found a new gene, it's 5K. Like it's just regular price, and work with this new gene if you like it,
I mean, because I mean, how would you price something like that if you don't really know what the fuck it does? You know what I mean? That's why I'm curious, like, on who would, like, are you? I don't know. I just see as it kind of being something where you just have to hold on to it till you got something ridiculous to share.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
for sure. I mean, look, that's realistically speaking, that's what I was doing. That's why it's brand new, because I wasn't selling it, I wasn't promoting it. I would post it, but not really, I would say like new gene, like whatever new gene, like no name, just adding, I wasn't really marketing it. I didn't make like a Facebook video about a YouTube video about it or nothing, because I didn't want to sell something that I'm not sure of, right? Like I'm just not that type of person. I don't want to like, hey guys, I have a new gene, and like, you see it sometimes. I mean, Dave, you've been around enough to see it quite often, where someone sees something something on the tail is like, it's a brand new gene. But I felt like, hey, if I'm gonna sell them, I should make people aware of this. I think it's only fair. Not for me to get more money. Like it's pretty much priced the same way as I would price my other stuff, maybe a little bit more, but just to be fair, because like, what if they don't want to work with a certain gene that does something? It's like whenever you sell like something that's 50% het, and a lot of people don't mention it. Well, maybe you should mention it, because maybe someone doesn't want that gene involved in their collection. Like there was a guy a few years back that did it, was selling 50% het caramels, right? And then all of a sudden, like the other guy worked with it for 5 years, and all of a sudden caramel ultramels are popping out in his collection, and bad clutches and females on their sides, and like, so it's important for people to know. That's the only thing about it. But as far as marketing, obviously I wasn't planning on marketing it up until I had to sell it.
Yeah.
Well, how many different people have bought into it so far?
So I have one guy in the States that got one. I think he's gonna breed her this season. Nothing yet. And then I have another guy that picked up a sub-adult female from me. So very low key, not much going on for that. I have a couple of people interested for some of the males that I have, the visual DG clowns that I have. But that's it.
Yeah.
I mean, realistically, depending on what you produce this year, someone might want to swoop in and just take it all with the babies. Decide where they want to go. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean, it should, like, if it's not, now I didn't even think about that to be a Bell complex, but if it's not a Bell complex,
that was the dumbest thing to say, man. I didn't really mean that. That was just the most fucked up thing I could think of, man. I'm sorry.
Realistic. No, but it's a realistic.
No, because if it happens, I'm gonna feel like an asshole now.
No, it's not your fault. It is what it is, Like I'm not worried about that at all.
How about this? Well, here's a little story to make up for you, and I don't tell many people this story. William knows it though. Ben bought some of those double het red albino ball pythons back in the day. And then we later found out, it was nothing. Well, I took one of those females and I bred it to like a banana lesser, and it made a blue-eyed leucistic with small beady red eyes. So I don't know what the fuck am I to fuck, but that's what I got out of that project being here.
So that project was what? So you actually end up getting the snakes?
Well, Ben had already had the animals in his collection when I got there. I can't remember exactly who he bought them from, but he had a 1.2 breeding group of what was supposed to be the black ball albino red project, so on and so forth. Yeah. So him, I think around the time that some other people in the hobby swooped some up, he had them there, so I treated it like that. I raised them up, and just before I bred them, I found out that it was all one big scam. Yeah. So I pretty much put them over into the pet rack, bred a banana to it, and made a white snake.
That's crazy. And for people don't know, you want to tell them, but this guy was selling basically like penciled in red snakes. What was the
well, how about this? You want to hear about the other 40 times that's happened in the hobby? Because I think we've all heard that, because, there was Bob Clark bought a retic that was soaked in Kool-Aid one time, got it in, it was red. I think Philip over at Star Python bought the Black Panther project for carpet pythons. It was a solid black carpet python. The guy would only sell them hets. In the end, was not genetic. So it's not even that this was anything that different that we hadn't seen before. I think we were all just very hopeful.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Hey, listen, I got a couple super chats I want to share real quick.
Let's do it.
one of these guys want to ask you if there's anything they can do to help you. If you have a GoFundMe or if you're needing any assistance, this is a question that they have.
Damn, I no, there is no GoFundMe. I appreciate that very much, though. No, I think I'm going solo on this one. Just taking care of my stuff. It's not something that I'm on the podcast talking about it, but apart from that, I'm pretty private on my stuff. So no, I appreciate it very much, though. But no, for now, I'm okay. For now, I'm doing okay.
But you can help by buying a snake from you though, too, right?
Yeah, I mean that's one way to fund my GoFundMe is to buy something for sure. Yeah, that way you get a snake out of it for sure.
He doubled up, man. He
Yeah.
wants to know if you were getting into ball pythons, what 5 snakes would you pick if you were to start from scratch?
Damn, I guess I have to use current events, right?
Yeah.
First and foremost, Blackhead.
Mhm.
No doubt about it. Blackhead, Puzzle, Hypo.
Mhm.
I want to say Wookie. I don't have any Wookie, but I like Wookie. What's that other gene? Is it Stranger? No, I think I'd rather Wookie. Wookie, Cypress. Hold on.
Solid codoms, buddy.
Yeah,
That's a lot of codons, but
we'll go about that. Well, I'll touch base on it. Replace the Wookiee with GHI. I think I would go with GHI.
I think either one.
codon for codon. Respect.
Dude, so I love codoms, okay? And then a few years back, a bunch of people went to Tinley, including Will, and everybody came back. They're like, recessives, and recessive is the next thing, and they hold their value, and we're going to do this with recessives. And then everybody switched to recessives. And then everybody switched to double recessives, triple recessives, quad recessive. And I have quad heads, I have this. Cool, I respect that. But at the end of the day, did we stop, like, developing the incomplete dominant genes? Like, we've barely touched the surface on all these combos, right? And then all of a sudden we dumped them, and then we dumped like just GHI combos. GHI combos are some of my favorite combos to make. Cypress combos are insane. Blackhead combos are nuts. And then we just stopped doing that because now we're just producing quad head normals, and to continue with the trend, to keep up with the trend, I also did some of my projects like that, right? Like I still did a lot of incomplete dominant, but I would do stuff like, I have like pied head DGs available. Like they're cool for a base, but then where's the pizzazz? Where's the extra genes and the colors and the patterns and all that included to it? So I definitely recommend people restart working with codoms. I think it's super, super important for the longevity of our industry. 100%.
Yeah. No, I mean the double head, triple head, quad head thing, like you're saying, is definitely where we're at right now, and everything's so early stages that it's like needs to be done. And when it comes to introducing codoms, you'll start seeing a lot more. But there's certain projects, that are already linked to certain ones you'll see right away, like you being in genetic stripe, DG clown stuff. Considering we saw genetic stripe DG stuff early, we're not surprised we're doing that kind of stuff now. But no, I agree with the codon game, man. I'm all about developing it. And, if you look at it this way, if your entire collection's recessive right now and you're adding a codon with a recessive in it, it's now as easy to make that codon with a recessive as it was back in the day breeding that codon to a normal, a pastel, or another gene.
Yeah.
So, yes, recessives are going to be the investment that we're all going in, but they're going to be as easy to make in the recessive codon as they were just the codon originally.
Exactly, 100%. Yeah, and there's no hate against recessive. I think they're important. They have the role to play, but I think we should not forget about the codom game for sure.
I always
Work on together.
I always thought about that. And then what's crazy, what you mentioned is like, the whole hold your recessives hold their value. Well, no, they don't. Because I'm seeing this firsthand that DG clowns are significantly going lower. DG, or just not just DG, but just any kind of double recessive isn't smacking retail price wise compared to like last year or the year before. You know what I mean? There's quite a bit of a drop.
So I think it's a big mixture of events that happened with the past few years.
Yeah.
If you remember before COVID, I was buying DG females. I bought my first DG female for $300. Okay. Hypopite stuff was going from maybe $850,000, and stuff wasn't crazy. Pieds, you're getting pied females for 250. This is Canadian, by the way, so like knock off like 95% if it's in USD. And so I was picking up clown females, whatever, pied females for like, $300 Canadian, so like $220 USD. And then COVID hit. So what happened with COVID is, one, everybody started staying home. So now everybody's not working their full-time job, not grinding. They're watching YouTube. They have more time to look into, bless you. They're having more time to look into videos and online and Facebook and Instagram, and they're kind of getting to know the world. So they're introduced to our world. And then that's at the time where all this crazy new genetics came out, and you have people like, Justin Kubilka that made a bunch of, videos that went viral in the news, and the emoji pie and all that kind of stuff. Then you had Miguel, which exploded with Face Clan and exploded his YouTube channel. So what happened is, you have a influx of interest, and then you have an influx of free money from the government. People have more time and a huge interest, and a lot of, like, their demand got really, really big, because people are like, oh, I can come in and become a millionaire overnight. And a lot of people did think that, right? Like, they would see the money being done in like snakes and ball pythons, and they're like, oh shit, I can come in and like, make hundreds of thousands and sell snakes for like, $15,000-$20,000. And they all got in. What's happening now is we're going back to the norm, right? Where people are going back to their jobs, and people that are like, oh, I'm going to come in the second year, I'm going to make 100 clutches. Dude, no one is doing 100 clutches on their second year or the third year. Like, it doesn't make any sense from all perspective. Logistics, well, I mean, financial could be separate, but like the logistics of building a collection and producing and selling that many snakes that fast, it's just not there. It's simple as it is. You need a lot of time to build up your name, build like your community, especially now. It's all about community, right? Like, a lot of people have their Patreons, they have their YouTube groups, they have their Facebook groups, and it's all about like community and selling to your community and building projects together. And you can't just come in and just, hey, here you guys, buy all my snakes. It's not gonna happen. And what's not helping the current situation is, one, the economy. And that's just across the board for North America, for everybody. But not only that, is because it's going down so fast, people are having a lot of fear, where like, this is normal. These are kind of normal prices compared to like before COVID. But because they went down so fast, now there's a lot of fear added to it. We're like, oh shit, it's crashing. Everybody's going to shit. And it's like a whole, bunch of swirls in a bucket and stirred.
No pun intended to the news.
Yeah, no pun intended.
No, I mean, it's true. I mean, and I think Dave and I had heart-to-hearts about this kind of shit 2 years ago, or not two, but yeah, about 2 years ago. We talked about what's to come with how people are going to get fucking hit pretty hard with the reality of, the economy.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know how far. I know you go back further than I do, Khalil, but I know Dave has seen a lot of ups and downs in the hobby. I don't know if you've ever seen a quote-unquote crash or something drastic like that, Dave, but you've seen stuff go up and down quite a bit, haven't you, since you've been around?
Oh, me? Sorry, I thought you were still there. Oh, well, yeah, we talk about this all the time. I'm sorry, I thought it was still like a second-round question for him. Okay, so 2 points on that. So first off, when you were talking about that, like, kind of think about, what was relevant in that time of COVID. Let's say COVID happened in 2015. The projects that we were chasing at that point that were a lot different meant people would have built their collection completely different, and it'd been a completely different industry moving forward the next 5 years. It just so happens that who came in now came in the double, triple, quad era. So yeah, people made that jump. There's only so many people that can make that jump. It's not cheap. So that has a lot of factor, but just that alone is going to change what we're going to do for 10 years from the amount of people willing to come in to buy what was relevant in that moment. There were some projects that were around for a little while before that were not relevant until the new people came in the hobby and everybody figured out what the new direction was going to be. We could all be shaping Mojave GHI clowns right now if they came in 2014 or 12. Like, it would just be completely different. And as for the economy, it's going to happen. But another thing with me saying the new standard is double quads, so on and so forth, the acceptance that some of that other stuff is cheap now. What's going to replace the spinner ball python? What's going to create or replace some of that calico stuff that always got fed into a certain part of the market? I see a lot of people with like pie prices really cheap right now, inchy pies, different OD and yellow belly pies. and everyone cannot believe how low the price is. But the reality is, you know, that animal isn't what it used to be. We still love it, but like that is, it might be what the new spinner ball python is. You know, even the acceptance of recessive not always being king. Nobody's buying your clown male for more than $50, $75. Like, it's not an investment anymore. It's just, it's going to move into the pet market. Let's flood them in, and we'll just keep focusing on where we're going from there. And there's always going to be different tiers, guys. Like, there's only so many people that can buy a DG clown at $10,000 in this hobby before we have to jump down a tier. And honestly, the jump from 10,000 to like 4,000 happens fast at almost every project we've ever had. So like I said, just recreating what the new norm is going to be, and we're going to chase it until we have a new thing that is the new norm. But right now it's double quads, trips, so on and so forth. And I don't know, man, as much as we got to stress out about it, I don't know if panicking is going to do us any good, but adapting to what the new market is probably what everyone needs to do if they want to survive.
What's this I hear about panicking coming from people Benny and Arlington show? Like some of them not doing too well, or so, I don't really know what. But something about people panicking from Arlington.
Well, you know what? I mean, Arlington was a little different. I mean, some of us felt it. Some people had horrible weekends. Other people had okay weekends, and a couple guys had great weekends. My boy Chad had an amazing weekend. I think just with that show, it's, you know, we had literally after Arlington was over, 10 days later we're in Tinley. Yeah. If you were going to save your money for that big trip, for that big buy, I think it's going to be the Tinley trip. So I do think that it's going to be a different market at that point. You know, Texas is there's a lot of shows in Texas, man. Like when you go down to Texas, there's a show every weekend. So I think Tinley is when we want to have a judgment call. We'll do a podcast after Tinley, and we'll feel out what the vibe is, and we'll all decide what we're going to do at that point. But, you know, let's let Tinley be the breaker, man. That's usually when our season really gets going into the fall.
I do remember last year, Arlington around this time, people were burnt out. Like, it's kind of like, you know, because you do have people that try to do a lot of shows, and you know, you got motherfuckers that just don't stop hitting the road. You know what I mean? Yeah. So this, and then, you know, you want to save, then you have the show, which is Tinley, right? Which you never really know what to expect. But obviously you have to go in with positive vibes. You have to go in with the intention of fucking killing it whenever you step foot into a Tinley. You have to. Yeah. It's like going into the fight of your life.
Yeah, I'm always everybody's hype man, but people have seen me on Sundays after a bad show, and, you know, I wear my emotions on my sleeve at that point. You know, I really don't hold back, but I always have honest conversations. You know, when I have a bad weekend, I look over my table and I ask myself what I could have done differently, because I know a lot of people that just always consistently do well in this hobby, and I know a lot of people that consistently do bad in this hobby. So there's always, here's the thing, I thought Snake Discovery was going to be there. I brought a lot of pets. Snake Discovery wasn't there. That took a lot of people off the floor, and what I brought with might not have been the right animals for that show.
We're going to keep this show talk going, and I have a question for Khalil. But before we do, usually in this sense, that in this case I'm about to speak, there's something that is attracting people from hitting the like button, and I'm pretty sure it's your hair, Khalil. Your hair's on point. You look great. By the way, Khalil, when my hair was grown out, me and him had proclaimed this best hair in the game, but it's shaved right now for my boy Brian Barczyk. But why is the like ratio so fucking disrespectful right now? Why is there only 37 likes and 74 people watching? I get it, and if it's not the hair, then what is it? Get the likes up. This is ridiculous. It's Khalil.
You know what it is, man? It's the conversation. It might be inappropriate in people's eyes to like it. Yep. Here's an old story that some people remember. If people remember the What the Fuck Dwight t-shirt, when Pro Exotics had their fire, and like somebody got in the comments and like loved it or liked it, and the first comment was like, "What the fuck, Dwight?" That was like the funniest thing in that moment, and a very tragic moment. So maybe we're just living in that right now, man. No one wants to be Dwight.
Yeah, I guess so. But fuck, get the likes up. Now, my question for you, Khalil, you know, you and I have gone to shows together. What are things that could maybe keep you from buying a snake at a table? And I'm you know, you being a spectator at shows a lot, and like you said, shows here that we've gone to together. What are maybe some advice for people out there who could maybe do things either better or different or whatever? Well, I want to hear from someone who's an actual consumer and someone who's actually purchased and made deals at shows and whatnot. I want your take on that.
Okay, so before I answer this, I might not be the best person to ask that. I will answer anyways because I usually do most of my shopping online, and I look for certain genetics that I like. I'm looking for this now. This
But you could find something. You could find something. Like let's just say, like,
yes,
whoa, you know what I mean?
yeah. So look, I think I think displaying the animals has a lot to do whether you're gonna sell it or not,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
The way they're displayed, the lighting, the substrate, the proper, okay, for example, here's a turn off. You go to a table and you like a certain snake,
Mhm.
but like half the shit is mislabeled, right? With the wrong genetics or this and this. And you're like, okay, well, can I trust this guy with half of the stuff not labeled properly? And is this really a het from what I'm looking for? Or like, that kind of stuff. And then not seeing the animal properly, whether it's not big enough because there's a good size for like if you bring an 80, 90 gram animal to a show, like they just had like three fuzzies in and you bring him,
Right.
not my favorite snake to buy. A little bit more size, 150, 200 grams, proper lighting, proper substrate, labeling, and like talking. Like there's so many guys that like after the first Stanley show that I went to added me on Facebook. That every time I go up, I'm not gonna say names. Every time I go to the show, I go up to like to hi to them. Like they act like they've never met me in their life before. And it's
Oh.
like, okay, dude, like I'm not, like this, like we're not in LA, like fuck off.
They think they're sick.
Like have a conversation, dude. Like they act like okay, bro, whatever. I'm not.
But some people can't. I don't want to say they all have Asperger's. But I'm just saying some people don't know how to act when they're face to face. They're very confident over the phone, or maybe talking in a group chat or whatever, or maybe good on a podcast. But in person, I've seen people not be the same person, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. I'll see you later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Look, I agree with you. Old me would have been like, oh, there's a reason, there's a reason. And new me is like, yo, you're asking me why I'm not buying from you because I think you're a shithead. Like, straight up. Don't act like that was me in high school where like I didn't know how to talk to people or I didn't know how to like conversate and I was shy and I was this and I was this. But eventually as a grown ass adult, I'm like, yo, I gotta figure out my shit how to talk to people, how to create conversations, even if they're pretty simple. Like, I don't know, do drugs if you have to. I don't know.
Dave.
Not always willingly, buddy.
Did you drug him? It's true, you drugged him with that chocolate, didn't you?
I don't want to say it was more like plotted that I thought he knew what I was offering him.
It was true.
He took it like he's never had any piece of chocolate in his entire life. He immediately just didn't inspect it or nothing. Put it right in his mouth.
I have so much trust, buddy. When you give me something to eat, I don't second guess it.
The only chocolate we've only ever eaten were shroom-induced chocolates ever.
How many grams was it?
It was a square, so but it was like these squares are really not really measured, so it was kind of like
He might have gotten the full 5 grams or the
It wasn't the grams so much that I just couldn't understand why I felt the way I did all night until I understood why I felt the way I did all night. Like, doing that thing where like I was in a group of people and every once in a while I'd be like, okay, guys, not feeling it anymore. I'm going to change scenery. I'm going to go over here now. And I was like, wow, this is what I do on shrooms. This is weird. And then he offers me a drink later. I'm like, dude, I can't do it. That weed chocolate was too much for me.
I remember that night. That's how you were. Like we were sitting there conversating, and then you were kind of like jumping from one conversation to the other.
Yeah.
And I was like, I did that a few years back. We went to Tinley, me and my brother, and a bunch of like Brian from MBK, Antoine from DPR, Sander from DDI. We stayed like an extra day, and we decided to go to the Chicago aquarium. And then Ozzy had before he left, he's like, "Yo, I have all this left. Take it." And he gave me a chocolate bar, a shroom bar, a whole like a big one.
right.
And then we get to the cab, like in the cab, we get to the front of the aquarium. I'm like, okay, guys, we're here. Anybody want a piece of chocolate? And I open it, and I gave everybody in the car a piece of the bar, and we went inside. And within like half an hour, I look at everybody. My brother and I knew, right? We're looking at everybody. They're laughing. Like Nelson from Scales and Tails is all like, like looking at the fish and laughing and shit. I was like, yeah, it hit everybody. It was one of the best like 2 hours, 3 hours of our lives, man. We couldn't stop laughing, man. Our stomachs were hurting.
Yeah, we had a fun night that night, Dave. I think after you understood what happened, you had a good night for sure.
Yeah.
As soon as I understood why it was happening, but what led up to it, man, was tough. A lot went in my mouth that night, and I couldn't figure out why I felt the way I did.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do it. I can't. like I have a hard time doing shrooms in public, like very hard
Yeah,
time.
me too, buddy. Me too.
Yeah, now I gotta go to like a cottage in the mountains and like super like exclusive with like 2 or 3 people that I know well, and like that's when I do it. I can't do it in a party mode. It's no longer a party drug for me.
Yeah. No, literally the moment he told me that I had eaten shrooms hour beforehand, it was like this calm went over my whole body. A little breeze went through the bar and went right over my face. And I was like, everything makes sense now, and I'm happy again. I'm like,
Yeah, I know what's going on. I know, fucked up.
yeah, now it makes sense. Yeah.
Sworn he knew. I was like, wow. And I was like, well, obviously felt bad, but also felt good that he knew now. And felt
Yeah.
bad.
Hey, if there's somebody to happen to, it's got to be me, buddy. That's it. It's fine. I'll be just fine.
All right, so let's counter. We're talking show talk and whatnot, but you feel like online sales or online presence is more of your strong suit. So I don't know, man. You have people that think it's just as easy as starting a Morph Market account and being a pro member, and you're going to sell whatever you post. Not the case, right? Let's throw some tips out there for people who, let's just say, have some respectable stuff to post, but have never posted any snakes before. Maybe they have a good following, but what needs to come at play, you feel like, to really take advantage of all situations possible when it comes to selling a snake online?
I mean, I think first of all, your brand presentation has to make sense. The name has to make sense. It can't be like some, weird name that's all put in together that people can't even like repeat it. I think that's pretty important. And I used to have a really weird name before, 514 Reptiles. And then I went out for like 6 months because I was moving. And then I got in. I'm like, you know what? My area code here is 514. It's Reptiles. I had like 5 snakes, so like 514 Reptiles, and I did it. It's pretty simple. It's not like super, it's not like it took me. I wasn't on a shroom trip when I thought about it. It's just simple. The image of your, posting stuff like, I don't know, like weird lighting and like dirty bins and dirty tubs, and like it's important to be consistent with your image to me, right? And if you look at 514 Reptiles, you look at my Instagram page, it's very important to keep consistency, keep everything clean. I avoid tub pictures. I don't like professional pictures for like my Instagram. I like the hand stuff and maybe like outdoor stuff. That's important to me. Communicating with your followers, with your fans, not like people post like I don't know, awesome snake. Okay, but people want to know what it is because it helps with the genetics. It helps people know what you're working on, what you're known for. I think that helps a lot. There's another aspect of not just helping. Well, first of all, Morph Market is a nice tool, but also if you think that just posting on Morph Market is going to help you, if anything, it made sales a little worse for people because people want to buy from you. You're sitting there with 3,000 other breeders that are selling the same snake, and it's basically chopping prices to the bottom of the barrel, right?
Right.
So you need to build a side community. What I find is very, very important, and I didn't do a lot of it, and I would do more if I was to continue, is focus on something, a certain project that you're known for. You know what I mean? Like take blackhead hypo GHIs to the next level. Like take that base and build onto it and become known for doing that. Like when I first got started, there was a guy, maybe Dave, you know him. I think he was talking about getting out. The guy had like all hypos in his room. It was all hypos, but it was some of the most insane hypo combos like you can ever see. You know what I mean? And look, realistically speaking, maybe it's too niche. Maybe you need to expand a little bit, but just not work like two clown clutches and 2 pipe clutches and 2 puzzle clutches and 2 DG clutches. If you're like a wholesale or a big time breeder, maybe you can do that. But if you're smaller, I'd say focus a lot on certain genetics.
Yeah. No, I think the niche is good. I think, you can go with one recessive and still be successful.
Yeah.
And with there being so many little ones out there, like, tri-stripe that's undeveloped, paint that's starting to get developed, like, you can make your focus one of that. But, like we were talking before, I love the co-down game too. But if you don't have one base recessive in there, you're probably going to fall apart. You'll be essentially making ingredients for other people to do what you're not doing.
Yeah.
To give them direction, but you got to have a foundation recessive.
Agreed. Yeah.
You keep saying hypo more than DG, and I'm assuming because you have hypo in your collection, and
I
more
have
hypo.
I have way more DG than I have hypo, but man, do I love hypo. Like, I think hypo is one of the sickest genes out there. Like, it's just
than GG.
yeah. Okay, let's compare. Hypo puzzle better than DG puzzle in my opinion. Although I was working the DG puzzle stuff. DG clown is better than hypo clown. We're gonna compare, but everything's nice. Hypopide over DG Pied. A GHI, like I just made some like crazy GHI hypo stuff. I sold a GHI vanilla pastel, Mojave hypo het clown female. Like it
I'm
just
really heard about that. I should have grabbed that.
insane. Yeah, dude, that was a crazy female. And when I even gave it to the guy at the show, like this was at 2 weeks ago at the CRB in Toronto, he's like, "Yo, this is insane. Like she doesn't even look near that in the pictures." So yeah, I like hypo quite a bit, like a lot.
So, I agree with you. When DG started getting popular, I kept on making a joke that, we're going yellow after shitting on yellow for so long. And the nice thing, here's the compromise, DG hypo, which I'm always been in love with. You get that crispness of the DG, and now all those oranges that the DG was taking out are almost magnified a little bit when you make a DG hypo because of what oranges it brings to the table. So honestly, I think those two colors together are such a balancing act right now that those will probably go into everything you're seeing right now over the next 5-10 years. I think that's the direction of the hobby moving forward now that we've seen them.
I agree. And that's what the guy that picked it up for me, his name is Jonathan. I actually think he's he's there. Johnny Pythons. And he's doing DG Hypo Clown to that. DG Hypo Clown. He's plugging into that female. That's what his project is for. So and that's a female that would fit in perfectly with those three recessive genes. Like it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to seeing what he makes out of that female. So I agree with you. Hypo DG it's perfect.
If I remember right, I think in that last video where Justin was talking about his Hypo DG clown stuff, I got the impression, if you might remember, he has the ingredients to make a Hypo DG Pompeii. So, maybe around the same time we see that, we'll see a DG Pompeii, and we can go side by side and just really talk about what the difference the Hypo is doing in that project. I think that'll be a big direction changer for a lot of people when they see a thing like that.
For sure. Yeah.
Damn. Yeah, I was a fire ass snake you let go to Johnny, man, for sure. I was GHI is super special to me. So it's cool to kind of hear you talk on that. But you have so much back and forth with DG hypo, and I know it's all preference, but I always just in my heart, I think champion wise, like longevity wise, more impactful on an all scale basis here. I think hypo, I feel like is the king in this sense. Me personally, this is what I think. But
and sometimes we just got to see it first, man. Like we hypo's been around for a long time. It's been around the same amount of time that DG is. Look at what one's doing and one is not doing right now.
Yeah, only time will tell.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I just think that it was put on the back burner. Like when I came into the game, one of the guys that I kind of was friends with locally, he's like, dude, hypo's so shit. Don't get into that. And I kind of like influenced what I thought about hypo. And then when I got my first hypos, I was like, yo, these are crazy looking snakes. Like
all the time.
They just get better with age. Hypo only gets better with age, And I was like this is, I don't understand. And then I had like a super chocolate hypo and made a couple of different combos, and just super chocolate hypo is insane. Like in person, you're like, this is like, it's like a purplish brown, like ghostly, like, I like it for sure.
Mimosas, man. When the mimosa came out, the champagne hypo, that thing was unbelievable. Love that thing.
100%. Have they made like the super chocolate, like just based like a bright purple, right? Like a super chocolate mimosa?
Well, I don't know what that would do. It probably would make it pretty orange, but with champagne, it's so unpredictable. It might just make a paddleless animal with nothing going on.
Yeah.
I would think something would happen, but honestly, I'm not sure anybody's ever gone that route.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do it. No, I'm kidding.
There's still a million things to do, buddy. We'll never do everything we can do in ball pythons. In 10 years, we're going to look at this. Here's something fun. If you want to be a real freaking nerd about this, go on Fauna Classifieds Go down the ball python list. You can literally go back 25 years in ads and see what things were charged for 25 years ago, what was relevant, what was selling out. All that data is still there, and it's stupid.
Yeah.
We were looking at like inchies for $1 a gram when inchies got real popular, when nerds started making them like crazy. Like, go to Fun and Classifieds, man. It'll really open your eyes to what the hobby's done over the last 20, 30 years.
Yeah, and like for the newer people in here that are like kind of maybe they're stressing about the, I don't know who all is watching right now or will watch it in the future. Um, if you look at these prices, like Dave is saying, from 15, 20 years ago, like pinstripes were like 25,000, lessers were like 18,000,
Right.
bananas when I first came out they're 50,000. Now you're wholesaling bananas for $35, $50 for like males and stuff. So it's not that it's like, oh, it's crashing. It's just the way this cycle works. That's just the way the ball pythons work. Yeah.
Now
Where's Miguel? Where's Miguel?
now there's a replacement for the pinstripe that's a $30,000 state. This is all it is, and it's going to always continue like that.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't know. You haven't really. I haven't really asked you about how you felt about the levels of DG. You know what I mean? When that came out, that news came out about the ABC and stuff like that. I mean, do you feel like was that appealing to you, or were you just like, I mean, how did that hit you when you found out that news?
So, I only heard about it from a couple of people that messaged me about it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna speak, and I didn't really look into it. I think if you're gonna go that route with genetics, you're gonna find a lot of surprises with ball pythons, and I mean a fuck ton of surprises with that, right? What sits on what allele, and A's and B's, and what matches, what doesn't match. For as long as I've been producing DGs, and I produce quite a bit of DGs every year, I've never had that like something pop up or like it was weird. And I have DGs from Will, I have DGs from Mike, I have DGs from Justin, I have DGs from Ozzy, I have DGs from all over the place, and I've never had any issue with it. So to me, I don't pay much attention to it. Should I? I don't know, but I just kind of, it was just another day. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, okay, well, that's it. I don't care. Moving on.
I think there's a lot to learn on it still. I think that anytime you discover something new, it's kind of crazy, but it's the first time we've had testing. When you're talking about like all the allelic stuff, I mean, we weren't even talking allelic in 16 or 17. Like, it was right around that time we started talking about inchy and cinnamon being allelic. We had other allelic genes that we knew on the bell complex and yellow belly, but like for inchy and cinnamon, that was the first one that was a weird one. Together they didn't do anything crazy. And then we saw red stripe and cypress, which we all thought was allelic, ended up not being allelic. And then I don't know if you remember when cryptic hit the scene, some people said it was the codon that was allelic with a recessive as in clown. And then finally we got to the terms that they're both recessive. So thank God for the test. But, we've thrown a lot of information at ourselves in the last 6 years in ball pythons we didn't have before.
Yeah, for sure. And like, so based on what you said, like, let me ask you a question. Do you think that we should, like, in my opinion, I'll ask your opinion about this, I think it's just complicating things, I think trying to figure out things because look, at the end of the day, the majority of the ball python industry, the people that are in it, they're not like, researchers and people that are doing biology or lab. Like, they're just basically people that have jobs and are doing this on the side and just breeding for the looks and the industry and the community. Do you think it's important to bring in the extra, I call them headaches, but do you think it's important to bring in all these extra, try to figure out the genetics and the testing and the whole like is that something that you find that we need? You know what I mean? Is it kind of going to complicate shit and create issues across? Like, how's your what's your perspective on that?
Well, we didn't complain about the genetic test until the ABC thing happened. And I do think that there's a benefit in the hobby to have that luxury. I'm in boa constrictors. It takes me 4 or 5 years to raise up a female to breed her. It takes me a year and a half, sometimes 2.5 years on a male. If I could just have a few simple tests on the few simple genes we have, I honestly would take advantage of that. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the terminology and just the way we're talking about this has thrown us all a little bit off. We talk ABC, but it's really three completely different genes in a sense is what I'm getting out of it. Maybe they have the same look. Maybe they run on the same allele. Maybe the spike's high and low. I was talking to Junior with JMG before this, but like, you know, the reality is, and you know, we're going to get into it more, I think, in the soon future, but like, you know, I think there's a little more that we need to do other than looking at these new samples. You know, I think digging up some old samples, kind of breaking down where things started changing on this whole gene and how things are different. You know, again, you know, I always go back to Ben's collection when we talk about DG. He had an animal, two animals called Needs a Name, and they were both desert ghost combos. And one was like a harlequin bred to a mahogany, and it made these lime green ghosts. I'm sorry, DGs. And he's had cryptics pop up. So like he may have had one animal as double head, but you know, I'm gonna send those sheds in. I don't know if these are A's, I don't know if these are B's, I don't know if they're C's, but it's own thing that popped up here completely randomly, and it's happened 4 different times. So here's the thing, I have a lot more I want to learn about it. I do agree that it confuses people, but the reality is, you know, I think there's a benefit that's going to take some of the guessing out, because again, cryptic was co-dominant a minute ago.
Yeah.
Like, you know, this is going to get us to certain places faster. Adapt or die, buddy. I don't like technology either, man. I'm duct taping my fucking phone to this light ring over here, like, but it benefits certain people. And I will say, you know, for us that have been doing it and we just simply know, think about all the new people that are coming in that like, this gives them more reassurance in what they're doing because a lot of this is foreign to them. Mm-hmm. And that is a little more official. It's, you know, it's on paper. It's right in front of them. So I don't know, man. There's a lot of sides to this. I agree. I said a lot of dumb things in the first couple of weeks, man. A lot of dumb things about it. But I'm looking forward to learning more of what we know in a year. I think in the next year, we're going to start breaking down little things that might make this a little more interesting.
And I will say that you're almost, no matter how you are in this hobby, things like this kind of force you to be interested and almost forces you to want to learn and look into it. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I mean, there's so many things I do now that if you would have asked me, do you ever see yourself doing this? And I'm like, I don't ever do that geeky shit. Are you fucking kidding me? But now I'm all fucking about it. And one of those is saying the scientific name of things. You know what I mean? Like it should force you to. And I would have never thought I would ever care about that stuff, but it does mean something to me. So you know, that's why it's like, you know, I'm like Dave. I'm kind of a brute head. You know what I mean? Just want to come in here and just fucking get it all done and not take notes. You know, but at the end of the day, like, is that going to better you, or is that, you know what I mean? And obviously we're talking about living things, and I want to do best by them, and all the shit matters, man. I feel like, you know, you should care. I feel
for sure. I get it.
Clutch is a good example of that, you know, it's somebody making records of everything they do moving forward. And, you know, it's a very unique idea. It's going to be awesome. But like the Corn Snake guys did that 25 years ago. They had a .com where everybody put all their like pairings on there, and there was all these family trees from all this shit. So like, I do think the fascination has always been there to have more of a science side on this. Mm-hmm. But, you know, in a hobby-based thing that was not really appealing to the outside financially, money's not going to get thrown at it to learn science. So now that this is a little more credible, there's more money in the hobby, this is why we're starting to get the stuff we're getting now, I believe.
Fair. Yeah. So I like it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Accepted, buddy. I was an art major in high school, too. I miss it, but I dropped all my science and biology classes. I wish I didn't.
Yeah. Look, I'm into the geeky stuff. I just I already stated how I feel about it, and I agree with everything you're saying. Like I honestly generally agree with what you're saying for sure. I get it. I just sometimes I find that complicating things might not be the best, but I think it's just a matter of time before we get rid of the complications and the confusion, and we can get to a better place.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I mean, your feeling is what a lot of other people are feeling, man. Like when I'm at the shows, people come up to me and talk about this stuff all the time, and like, you know, they say the same thing. This is getting it too complicated. This is making my customers ask questions that don't even make sense right now. They're challenging my stock. They're saying if it's not AB, they don't want it. I know I have to test everything that I have to please my customers. So here's the thing. I mean, those conversations are out there.
Yeah.
But you know, let's give it a little bit of time. Like I said, I think the terminology, like Bitcoin, buddy, the terminology in Bitcoin is stupid. It's like they put mining on it because that's going to make simple people like me understand more. No, it doesn't help at all, money. Like, not at all. Like, it's just the terminology. I think a little bit where we talk about it. I think we're going to get there. And honestly, for everybody who hates it, I know a lot of people that love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I agree.
If you had to eliminate Bitcoin or Super Dwarf, what term would you eliminate?
Super Dwarf free tick?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I think that's two different things, man. That's like one of those like questions at the end where I have like a second not to think about it. I don't want to think about this.
You're saying the naming on the Bitcoin is ridiculous, right?
Well, the mining and all the terminology, instead of like, instead of going real geeky about it, they put real simple terminology so laymen's understand it. I find it more complicating. Or maybe I really just don't understand.
How much simpler can the term super dwarf be? I'm confused.
See, now again, this is complex. This is different. Now we're talking something completely different, man. Completely different. I got no smart answer here, man. I have nothing clever to say to that. I'm sorry, bud. You win. Checkmate, buddy. Checkmate.
But Khalil, I'm serious. Do you think it's going to become I mean, I know you said maybe you'll grow out of it, but what about people who are concerned, or not concerned, but people who are willing to drop heavy money on a DG project with somebody, but is wanting tests to know what type of DG you have? Like, you think that's ever going to be a thing, or like might become a pain in the ass?
I think, I mean, is it a pain in the ass? A little bit. It's not that big of a deal. If one of my clients comes now, even now, me leaving the industry, and someone tells me, hey, I want to get into a DG project, I need a certain male from you or female, but I need it to be DGA, DGB. Can you get it tested? Yeah, like no problem. I'll send it in. I'll get it done for them. As long as they're buying it for sure.
Okay.
I think it's a matter. Look, like Dave said, like either adapt or
Yeah.
People like we're talking about this, and there's a guy in the chat. His name is in the chat is Stromilder. His name is Guillaume. He's local to me, and he had bought a pastel clown head DG from me, and then he bought a double head, can't remember from who, and he wasn't able to make any DGs out of that pairing, and now he's trying to buy another male from me, and I'm sure if he comes forward and tells me, hey, we need to figure something out for his DG thing, like I'll accommodate. I'll be like, okay, well, let's try to figure it out and try to make sure that you get what you need, because it sucks, dude. You pay money, you raise an animal for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it doesn't work out, and now that if you know that this is there, like I haven't had any issues, but it doesn't mean that other people are not having this issue, or like it's real when people are not producing certain genes. So yeah,
Well,
I will definitely, and I think everybody should, if you're gonna do this for a living, like it's or I mean not for a living only, but for long term, I think it's important to accommodate.
yeah. And again, the worth of having something that's set for A and B, again, if your stock is head A, if your stock is head B, if your foundation animal is head A and B, it's good for everything in your collection. You don't ever have to worry about a thing. So,
Yeah.
And another thing too, and I don't know if I'm getting this right or not, but even saying like, remember Mark was talking about the clutch he had that had a normal in it from DG to DG breeding?
Yeah.
Mark, cool.
So, the concept is this then.
Mark Mandic, right? Mark Mandic?
Or-
What
Mark Bailey, right?
Oh, yeah, my bad, Mark Bailey. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, did I not say Bailey?
No, you just said Mark.
Oh.
We have Mark, sorry.
Right. So let's just say this. So Mark bred an enhancer that was head DG to a DG that was head enhancer, which means you're working to get all visuals. And when the heads hit, you could still have a normal animal in there that could be head A or head B if, let's just say, enhancer's A and DG is B. Like, this ABC thing is what complicates it. If these are a different gene that all act very similar in the dominant form, me and Matt Crawford were talking about this too. This all got stirred in my head. These are early thoughts. I might be completely wrong, guys. Don't write any notes.
Yeah.
Soon, though. Soon.
It's early on. So what are we gonna eventually name them DGA, DGB? Because you can't start renaming them, like.
Well,
Right.
We can't necessarily, but what if we? Okay, can I talk about stuff I'm going to talk about in the future right now, MJ? You want to keep that shit for later?
Let's do it, right? We can have a whole different crowd next week, so it doesn't matter.
All right. So, okay, so let's just say this. What if we can go back and get a shed from the first enhancer? And what if we can go back and get an early shed for the first Bell's DG? What if we find out that the early Bell's DG hits on A and the enhancer hits on B? When we're talking about it being two different genes, again, the allele part is what's going to throw me off. I don't know if these genes all run on the same allele. I was talking to Junior. I don't know if it's a different spike. But again, if we can go all the way back and say enhancer A, DGB, then we can say, cool, this is my enhancer DG visual. Like, maybe there's something else we call it there, because this could literally be two DGs that are unrelated enough that when you breed two visuals together, you might not make all. But if they carry the other DG, you're going to hit at least that. Or remember, we make those really nice DGs when you hit on the A and the B. That could be a double visual on something that looks very similar to each other. So again, if we could trace back early lineage on sheds on any of that DG or enhancer stuff, maybe there's something in there that'll maybe make us understand this a little bit more. And then I think I made a comment. Junior said there was the Ron Tremper line, which they called the Hollywood ball python. And that essentially was another desert ghost. I Googled it. I couldn't find shit. So I told Junior to get out there and find it for me. But point being is there wasn't always just one DG. There's been multiples imported over the years. Nerd might have had one imported over the years. So like I said, the terminology is throwing us off. But if we could just figure out where the similar projects might have broken different directions, if that's what's happening, this might be better on everybody.
It's crazy you say this. As you're saying this, I just thought about it. So that fire, let's call him the Fire Swirl DG het G-stripe clown that you put up earlier.
Mm-hmm.
That male came from a pastel desert ghost het clown from Will at RCR
Mm-hmm.
to a yellow belly G-stripe het enhancer from Safari Reptiles. And I always thought enhancer DG, same shit. Just one guy had a nicer version of DG and called it the enhancer, right? But now that you're saying this, like it's a visual DG enhancer with the A, B, and all that, like that could, maybe that has to do with the look of that animal, which looks completely different than any other DG combo I've ever made. So it's interesting.
No, the terminology, like I said, is throwing us off. But there's gotta, because again, that A, B, and C, or that ABC has nothing to do with the actual desert ghost gene. It's all about where it's getting charted when they're testing these sheds. So it's essentially, let's just say MARC A, MARC B, MARC C, but they're in different areas. But again, I don't know if they're on completely different areas on the chart or they're on different areas on the allele for that gene. Because I don't even know if these would be even considered allelic genes at this point. Because again, we don't know. At least I don't think I know because I haven't done enough research. But like I said, I think if we can get some, I was talking to Jeremy at Fireball about it. I talked to Summer about it at the show over the weekend. And here's another one too. I don't know if Corey Woods is listening, but he did a clutch a few years ago where I thought he put an enhancer to a DG and showed off a clutch of maybe 4 babies that I thought looked all normal. And I thought the argument on the spot was not the same gene. Because I always wondered if it was more of a marketing thing between the two different names. Mm-hmm. But again, if one's A and one's B and you breed them together, again, I know there's something to this they were trying to explain to me, but I don't know if you'd necessarily hit a visual or if it'd be a very low percentage chance of hitting a visual. And I got one other thing. If you hit me up after the podcast, it's Corey Woods had it again years later. I want to say, I don't know how old the post was, but I know there was 2 babies in the picture. I just sent the chat beforehand, but it just said DG/enhancer on it. I don't know if those babies were actual visuals or not, or if those are just normals. So like I said, I think we'll get there. I think that was a lot to take in at first, and we're just trying to figure it out.
Okay.
It would call me if I'm, call me crazy, but I feel like, yeah, for sure. Shut up, Leo. Some of the best DG I see coming out are from people who have DG in their collection for a long time. And I don't know if that's just because they've continued to grow out the line that they're working with. I see some of the newer DG stuff being made and respect, but it's just, to me, I'm like, well, I kind of see the A, B, and C thing in a sense. So is it just more like keeping that shit in your projects and just keep working it until you see that DG, or are people just needing to keep working that line into their projects as far as that goes to get the real fucking punch of what DG could do for you?
Let me say one thing on that, just because. So you're talking about sticking with your line or whatever. So Chad and Bob have tested a lot of their sheds, and pretty much all their stuff has come from Bell stock. and they are getting A's and B's in there. I don't know if there's been another win introduced to their collection over the years. So, like, when you're talking about that, do you mean like if you got A, make A the best you can make it, or what do you mean by that?
Yeah, exactly. Like make the best line, the line that you could, whatever you have going good for you. You know what I mean? What if you have a little bit of A, B, and C, and then you're realizing the A holdback stuff that you're getting shed tests for is like, that's okay, I'm going to work with this stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I thought it was for Dave, but yeah, I totally agree with you.
Good guess, buddy. It's all about you today.
Yeah, no.
It's all about you tonight, Khalil. That was good.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I've been doing with whatever line of DG I have. I kind of every time I make one, I pick the nicest ones and I keep them, and that's the ones that I breed, and I'm able to make nicer and nicer stuff. But that being said, I have made some ugly ones from the the nicer ones. So it's random. Maybe you have better odds at making the nicer ones if you continue to line breed and get better results, or always pick like. A lot of times when I'm buying snakes too, is I don't pick like, oh, this has as many genes or all the genes. It's like the quality of the genes too. They matter, right? Like,
Right.
I think same thing with like, I want to say, I mean, I'm not very literate with like chondros and stuff, but like quality is like, you're looking at quality animals. Quality animals make quality snakes. I think it's the same thing. You choose the quality genetics. Most of the time they're gonna make you more quality genetics, and yeah, that applies in this situation for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's say someone mentioned about enhancer being more of the C. That makes sense. The DG stuff is more the A, B, like from the bells, and the enhancer is more on the C. Yeah, I mean, I don't.
It definitely it made the whole enhancer thing make sense because I was really before all this shit and before I actually was like having forced to learn about this genetic stuff. I had never understood enhancer because I don't like that name for some reason. It just bothers me. But things, and then people tell me, well, an enhancer and DG are the same thing. And I'm like, well, why? Like, well, if that's the case, can I just call whatever I have labeled enhancer DG since I have DG stuff and I don't want to confuse people? Because I'm just trying to like make this shit less confusing. You know what I mean? But obviously, there's a reason why it's not less confusing because they're actual different lines.
Yeah. So this might sound kind of silly. I know about it before, but the Graziani pastel line and the Nerd lemon pastel line hit the market at the exact same time. For me, I always thought that the lemon line just meant it was more yellow than any other pastel, and when I looked at it, it always was. But in the end, those two guys got together when they both had the same thing and essentially called it two different things for marketing. So they could separate their lines from each other. One started calling them lemons. The other guy said it was Graziani line.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought maybe that had something to do with it. And, enhancer, I didn't know if it was better or if that word enhancer just made it better in my head when I looked at it. Sounds silly, man, but that's what the pastel did to me initially.
Yeah. No, I mean, totally. Look, in 2016, I bought some snakes from a guy called Marc Bouchard. Their company name was Regis Co. He's from Montreal here. And he was like a big breeder, but like a lot of wholesale, like a lot of big numbers. And I bought a bunch of stuff, and then he messaged me afterwards. He's like, hey, I have this project. It's called The Enhancer. And he said, I still have the email. And he sent me like all the animals that he had for sale in the Enhancer project. And then I asked a few people about it. They're like, yo, it's DG. So like you're paying a premium to get this, blah, 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 whatever. And since I was told that, I was always like, oh yeah, Enhancer is DG. Yeah, it's nicer, but I also have really nice DG. So I think it's just like a line thing. Like not a line thing, but polymorphism, which is like this one's nicer. I have an ugly DG and a nice DG. I can't just call the nice DG something else. That's what I thought this was going on. But now as it develops, it makes sense that it could be the same gene, but it sits on a different lineage, and it's making a difference in terms of looks and compatibility. Maybe enhancer mixes with both of them, and then B doesn't mix with A. I don't know if they know what mixes with what as of now, but that's what I know about that.
The same thing had happened with the albino boa. When the albino boa came in the country, Pete Call had his. Brian Sharp was buying hets from him. Brian Sharp brought in his albino boa. Bred it to the hets, never made any visuals. It's literally two different lineages of T-negative albino.
Right.
And if that was a different color of boa constrictor, we could be in the same boat now where we got AB albino in boas. Maybe there's a double visual that looks better, but it's just the way this gene worked that we ended up where we are right now. I don't know.
Makes sense.
Now, I mean, I want to kind of just, I really love my green tree pythons and my emerald tree boas. I mean, I would like it if I were to get as good as with them breeding wise as I am ball pythons, but I just appreciate them so much. Only because I'm not having to deal with this fucking A, B, and C shit, But let me ask you this, Khalil. Let's talk about if you were to come back in, right? Let's say you travel, life happens, and then you're like ready to come in to the reptile industry again.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you have options. Maybe you do have the chondros, the emeralds, the ball pythons, the geckos, whatever, right? Do you feel like it would be the ball pythons you for sure go back to it, if you were to come back in, or do you feel like you'd want to explore the options and see that there is funner stuff out there?
It's a tough question because I don't see myself getting back into the reptile industry ever again. So it's to choose one, what I would do differently. I wouldn't be breeding, but I would definitely keep chondros, like 6 setups, and just not to breed, just to get them super nice setups, super fancy looking setups, and have like a nice room. Like Focus Cube Habitats posted a video, I think it was today, on their Instagram.
Heretic, yeah.
And it's like, yeah, exactly, like those crazy enclosures. Like I would have, like when I first started in ball pythons, I drove like 3 hours, me and my brother, to pick up a black pastel because we didn't know about like Facebook and like Fauna and all those places. So I found a guy on Kijiji, and he was 3 hours away from me, some French guy. So I drove like to pick up a black pastel, and he opened the front door for us. Like, wait here. He went to get it, and from upstairs, he had like a room full of nice enclosures with like chondros, GTPs inside of it. And I was like, this is fucking nice. Like it's legit, with the plants, the branches, the lighting, like it looks dope. And as a kid, we have a place here called the Biodome, which is like they replicate like the Arctic and the Canadian North and the tropical. Like you walk into, like, for example, it's a huge dome here. You walk in and there's like monkeys and parrots and huge banana trees and foliage and like alligators and capybaras at the bottom. Yeah. So like that kind of atmosphere. And then you walk into another one, there's like literally penguins and like all kinds of like different, like that's just kind of like the vibe that you have there. And the reptile section always had these really, really nice displays of like dart frogs and GTPs. And they had like, a big anaconda, like kind of one of those displays, all separate, not together, by the way. And I always was so fascinated by the GTP just sitting there like coiled, all green with just its head in the front. So I think the GTPs would be something that I would definitely, the emeralds and the GTPs I would keep. I wouldn't breed. I would keep.
Would you put a ball python in a display like that?
I always wanted to do that. Like I think it's part of.
Would you put a plastic in there? What would you put? Like, I'm just curious.
What do you mean a plastic?
a classic, like a normal. Like, would you?
Put classic? No. I wouldn't. No, I would do like a GHI hypo like combo.
But GHIs were found in the wild, obviously, right? But hypos are too? I'm confused. Like, so every gene, this is probably gonna be a bonehead fucking thing I'm about to say, but every morph that's in the ball python game was once found in the wild. Is that what that is?
It's possible, or it came out from like normals and heads and stuff that came out. I can't see anybody, by the way, anymore. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm about to say what happened.
I don't know why that happened. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know enough about that. But is that like? Does it have to be found in the wild? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, okay, because if we're thinking about if we're talking about a ball, for me, right? If I had all these cool displays, let's just say I was this fucking bowling, I just was like, I want to fucking have everything in the bio, fucking like a real looking fucking guide, like you're talking the enclosures you like, right? And if I were to have a ball python in there, I would want it to be something that would be a ball python in the wild, I wouldn't want a fucking goddamn ODYB fucking inchy hide or some shit, because I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's no way you're gonna find that in the wild, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it just wouldn't look realistic to me, So that's why I was curious what you would put. But a GHI, would you say GHI what?
I would do like a GHI hypo combo, but I like again, it just if I was to do it, but I wouldn't, like monitors. Like I didn't mention monitors. Like I would do like lizards, monitors, dart frogs. Like I love aquariums. That's something that when I settle down and I stop. Can you hear me by the way? Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
When I maybe travel less, it's like do my traveling and then I settle down a little bit. I would like to get a tank, man. Some like reef tanks, some like planted tanks, and I like fish a lot, quite a bit.
A lot of work. A lot of work.
Yeah, a lot of work, but I mean, what isn't? If you enjoy it, then
True. That's what makes it so like That's why I love what I love. To make you fucking work for it, and
yeah.
you have no other choice but to appreciate it. And also like it's cool to work with things that make you almost not want to take any shortcuts or do anything the fast way. Everything should take a long time, and everything, you know what I mean? Like it's more the journey. Enjoy that you have to fucking put in the work versus trying to find a way to get it done quicker. You know what I mean? Unless we're talking rodents or some shit. I get that. Get that fucking shit done. Dave, you have a wrap up question for Khalil?
Well, I was going to say, if you decided to go with the bioactive, all natural for a ball python, I could send you a killer bee and you don't have to worry about adding any fans to it, man. You'll get some great airflow from the wobble.
Spitters, sweet. No, I wouldn't do bioactive for a ball. I mean, he asked me. I wouldn't do that. Like, fuck, what's a bioactive for a ball python? Dirt, like in mud, and it's like
5 million little bugs to clean up a huge shit.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, how about this, man? I'm not really sure. Okay, so you're gonna travel. Is there a reptile you always want to see in the wild that you might plan a trip just to see that animal?
Yes, but that's not the one that I'm planning on going. I'm planning on going to Komodo Island.
Oof.
Okay.
In Indonesia, but that's not the one that I've always wanted to go see. But I'm like, I'm there. It's a 2-day boat trip. I might as well do it. In the wild, oh fuck, man. I have to think about that. Yeah, but Komodo, like I won't lie, it's not something that was always on my list. But now I'm like, maybe.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of different things to this hobby. I do a lot of field terping, so if I travel the world, I travel the country. I have a list of animals I want to see on the way. So, there's some stuff out there that might interest you when you get out traveling.
Yeah, for sure. I have more like mammals that I'd like to go see, in person, in the flesh, in Africa or stuff like that. But reptiles, maybe a little bit less. Maybe some cobras. I would like to see some cobras in the wild in their natural, I don't know if that's even interesting to see in the wild. I don't really know.
It has to be. I mean, my heart's just pumping thinking about it.
Yeah.
You're gonna be with some fucking goddamn natives that where like your life's in their hands, basically.
It's just like I find that being in the reptile industry kind of desensitizes you from these animals. Like I'll talk to my friends that will show me like there's a video online where like an alligator pops up of the water, like the guy's canoe, and he's kind of bops his head like back into the water. I'm like, oh, okay, I understand their behavior, blah blah, whatever. Like I kind of like I get it. And they're like, are you like I go to a reptile show or like something like that. Remember at the Tinley they used to have that big alligator crocodile in the front, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like it kind of desensitizes you to these animals that are like, that can tear your limbs off, so.
Oh yeah.
So I guess I'm not really like, like I would like to go see like a fucking lion, like a lion pride hunt, like that shit's insane.
I do and I don't, because I'm a fucking softie, man. Like it's almost because I have uncles that fucking hunt, like and I've gone a couple times, and it's just. And even with me breeding my own rodents, like feeding off my favorite ones, I always have an attachment to whatever animal I'm seeing. You know what I mean? And I appreciate the circle of life and get on all that. And I don't know, I just it's shit's wild, bro. Like it's and you're right, because you work with reptiles, you kind of become normal to it until you're in the wild. Until you actually step foot into the non-captive born and bred world. You know what I mean? It's a whole other fucking entity.
Yeah.
I have friends doing that shit firsthand right now, and it's just kind of crazy to see. And I'm just happy to be safe where I'm at right now. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm actually, bro. I just can't imagine me going out like that in the forest or some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then give my body away to villagers that are starving or some shit, and they're just like, Just what it.
No, I would look. I won't lie. I'll probably shit my pants if I ever saw like. I think there's a video online where like these guys are filming and there's like a deer or like whatever a deer from Africa, whatever you want to call it, gazelle, like walking up right in front, and out of nowhere, like a lioness just comes and like takes it out, and like in the video you can feel it. I'm like, yo, if I was there, I'd shit my pants. Legit, I'd shit my pants if I saw that like right outside the car.
Yeah,
But do I want to see it?
you might be somewhere where you can't shit your pants because there's no toilet paper. You know what I mean? So
Oh,
you
bro, there's no. I have no control over that. Just gonna like, like it's done. Like I'd like that. I'd like to see some, elephants in the wild, giraffes in the wild, or
I'm not going to get too touchy because I know no matter what you're doing in life, there will be a moment where I'll have you back on the show. Like, I mean, it is kind of sad to think 514 Reptiles as a reptile business will be no longer, but that's a chapter in your life, and me being friends with you still is what matters most, and us keeping in contact. And I know you and I spoken when both of us have been up or down. I think we've always been able to talk to each other. But for anyone out there, man, what's your advice for anyone out there who's in the dark moment right now? Maybe they feel stuck. Maybe maybe it's not easy for them to fucking make the first step forward, right? But obviously you've been there. I've been there. I know Dave's been there. For you, Khalil, what would be advice for anyone out there in the ball python community or any reptile game out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think first part is the most important part is don't be hard on yourself, because we're humans. We all have emotions, and a lot of specifically men, when they're going through something, they're hard on themselves. They feel guilt, they feel shame. There's certain feelings that they feel, and don't let that get in the way. Always be like, it's normal, I'm going through something, and always believe that there is a light on the other side. That being said, most at the same time, talk to your friends. Not feeling like shame is talking to your friends, right? Don't be like, oh no, I don't want to talk about to my friend. They're gonna judge me. They're gonna think I'm not good enough or whatever it is, dude. If you talk to your friends, if they're real friends, then they'll hear you out and they'll help you out for sure. That's the first part. Second part, and this is a tough one, is no one's gonna save you, man. So you really, really gotta do the work for yourself. Figure out, like, you really understand why you're feeling a certain way, what's going on in your life, what has led you to that situation. Sometimes it's your fault, sometimes it's not your fault, but whatever it is, this is the hand that you have now, and play that hand as well as you can. So work on yourself, look for information is out there, look how to get better, how to heal, how you can change things in your life. And a lot of times it's not the conventional way, like I'm trying to heal in the non-conventional ways, because doctors basically told me there's nothing that we can do to help you in your situation. So I deal with a lot of the other stuff that I've researched, and that's what I continue to do all my, in my free time, is continues to research, try to get better. And that's how I was able to get myself better. Because if I just listened to my doctors, I'd be a depressed, suicidal person right now. So, and it sounds weird. Like, I've lost a lot of my friends.
It doesn't sound weird at all. It's facts right here that you're speaking.
But that's people like you and I. A lot of people in the snake industry, they get it. We are these type of people. We're different. We don't think that the norm, and we don't we don't have that, like, oh, listen to this person and they know better and whatever it is, and listen to your gut. And I'm saying this because I went through it, where things would happen to me, and I wouldn't listen to myself and to my gut, because I was scared that people would judge me. This person thinks this about me, this person thinks things about me. But at the end of the day, bro, I'm not that person that I never always say this, but like, fuck everybody that's like that, like, if straight up, like, if they don't care, if they don't see what you're going through, and they're not there to support you, then fuck them straight up.
Yeah, and what's crazy is, like, you hear that phrase, nobody cares, work harder. And as I kind of hear that phrase more and more, it's like, dude, everyone's trying to work harder out there, man. Like, so it's like you're nobody really different in life when everyone has something. I don't care how balling you are. I don't give a fuck how great your love relationship is with your family. There's struggles in all situations, bro. And some people do better than others. And so there's always, and you know what, life is all about working harder and getting better. But at the end of the day, people just have their own shit. And that's why when some people think why isn't there anyone there for me? Or why isn't someone going to make me change? It's because, dude, people got their own fucking shit happening. Look what Khalil's going through. You know, you just don't know what people are going through. So it's really, that's what's all about, man. You really, it really doesn't fucking matter about anyone but you, and you should rely on you. At the end of the day, bro, it just, you know, all you have is yourself. Even though you got all your closest friends, ones that would drive hours away to see you, that's a blessing. But still, you need to bet on yourself more than anyone else, and that's
100%. Yeah, and look, we live in a somewhat safe society. I mean, it is a safe society, safer than other places in the world.
Yeah.
But part of that is an illusion. We have a medical system that acts like, you know, when I grew up thinking doctors, like you listen to a doctor, what they have to say. And when I first started running into my issues, I would talk to doctors, and they would be like, tell me a bunch of like stuff that didn't really make any sense to me, and they would kind of like blow me off, or like just kind of really disregard what I was saying in condescending ways. But the more and more that I got to learn about health and understand these things, when I have these conversations with them, you start to realize that these people just studied some books and regurgitating to you. They don't really know what's going on with you, what's happening. They don't know everything. And the more and more you see that, you realize that everybody's kind of doing the same thing too. So you're like, oh, the government's going to save me. We saw that in COVID, right? Government's going to save me, and medical system's going to save me, and all that kind of shit. But at the end of the day, they're there. There's some support, but you're on your own, you know?
Yeah.
And this is, I say it in a positive way, like figure your shit out. Be on, like, you know, take care of yourself. That's the best way to do it.
Well, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate the time. Honestly, I appreciate from the get-go, from the very first time you and I had a relationship. I think it was after fucking finally meeting each other at bar checks, man. What a time. I'll take that moment to the grave. So that was when COVID was happening and everything like that. And that is happening today all stems from that day. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's crazy. You know, and like, you know, COVID to me is one of the, it sucks for a lot of people. It sucks for the world, but I think it's in future we're gonna see COVID brought a lot of good to this world. A lot of things were uncovered, and a lot of friendships were made. And a lot of things took a certain route that can be appreciated, in my opinion.
We had just shy of 90 people tapped in at one point tonight. What do you have to say to all your love and support out there, man, and people who just only want to see you do good in life?
I mean, I want to cry saying this. Honestly, I appreciate everybody that's been there for me. You know, like everybody messages me all the time, asks about me. I have conversations with people all the time, and it's just crazy to think that even that I'm no longer doing a common interest, which is the ball pythons, there's still people that are like, yo, we're there for life. Like, we're friends for life now. We're gonna continue talking and stuff like that. And I see it often. I'm already like, I don't know, I've already told you, like, Will offered me to start like attending like as an employee with him to like his events, you know, like CRBE, Tinley. He's like, yo, dude, you still come, and you know, you'll be like my employee, you'll come with us and everything. So it's nice. There's a really good amount of love from people that I've never felt in my life. You know what I mean? Like, I've never felt it from some family members, and yeah, it's good, man. It's good to have. It's good to have, man.
I can't help to think how things come and go, you know. I mean, Dave's lost multiple friends in this game already. You know, I lost one of the closest ones I've ever had in my life. That was Forrest. And, you know, like I said, I know we're not losing you, but just like going back and just thinking how we all started in this. And Dave, I don't know, like I love Dave, man. I mean, I overly love Dave Levis, and I just love I love everything about him. And just to even think him being a part of what I'm doing and everything else, I just can't imagine. And it's just, but it's a beautiful place too. I feel like what we have right now is so pure, it's so great, and I'm just thankful. And even though you're no longer going to be breeding snakes, you're still going to be a homie, and you're still going to be a face to this podcast, you know. So I'm always here for you too, no matter where you're at, bro. You know, you can call me.
I appreciate you. Yeah, bro, I call you.
Yeah, you know, bro, for real. I love you, man. I love you like a homie, and only like I pray for you and hope everything gets better with your health, and you know, we see more of you at some point, you know.
I appreciate you, bro. I appreciate you.
Guys, do me a favor, please give it up for my boy Khalil, 514 Reptiles, ladies and gentlemen. All right, okay, have a good time in Texas. Hit me up.
Thank you. All right, for sure. Have a good night, guys. Have a good night, everybody.
Later, bud.
Oh, you're such a bitch, Dave. Why are you crying, man?
Well, you're a crier, buddy. I'm crying for you. I'm gonna hold that shit until later.
No, listen, man. This is just Cleo was reminding me how many good people I actually know in this industry, and if it wasn't for me, I don't know. Obviously, right decisions have a lot to do with it, but still, I have everything to thank the animals for, because without the animals, I wouldn't even know Khalil, all the Canadian homies, you, Forrest, just the list goes on and on. So I just had a moment of how happy I am to be a part of people that all do I look up to all you guys, dude. So this is it's kind of a fucking awesome place to be a part of, and I'm just happy. I'm just and it's just I'm just happy right now. So
yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I mean, like I said, what I got out of it was this. Just think about what the hobby has done for him. The people he's going to take with him. The fact that he lost his businesses during COVID. If it wasn't for the hobby, he wouldn't be able to survive. Wouldn't be able to do what he's doing right now. So, I know it's a sad thing when we hear about people selling their collections, and it's always a different deal. But what he's taken with him and what happened because of the hobby is really everything in my eyes, bud. I'm the same as you. Regardless of what's going on, my foundation has always been the hobby and the community. So, yeah, man, like I said, it's sad. You hate hearing about that, but he's gonna have good people around him, and that's all that matters.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you hanging out with us as always, Dave. Anything you'd like to sign off with? We had, just like I said, about 90 people tapped in tonight, so we have to say to all the love and support out there.
Yeah, no, just again, this last weekend I had some new faces come and talk to me at the show. Showed a lot of appreciation for what we do here every week, and just I had some really nice, real conversations at the show. So keep them coming, guys. I'll be in Springfield this weekend, and you'll see me at Tinley, man. I'll be the loud guy.
We have a couple big things in line for next week, Tinley lineup, which Dave will be a part of the Tuesday night show and the Thursday night show. I'm not spilling any beans, but we're coming correct. So be ready. Dave, go enjoy the rest of your night, please. And, let that dog finish that peanut butter on the plate, not anywhere else. You feel me?
Appreciate you, man. Way to notice.
Give it up for this guy, please, Dave Levinson, ladies and gentlemen.
You guys have a nice night, man.
Love you, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Peace. Oh, man. Guys, thank you so much. Seriously, I told all the Patreon members out there that tonight was a special episode for me. It goes deeper than the typical episode, only because, sometimes I forget that things will always turn the corner, in a sense. Nothing lasts forever, that saying, right? But sometimes you just never really see things changing when it changes. Khalil's also saying that what he's doing is going to better his life. And I think that's what anyone should do. I mean, anyone should do anything to better off what fulfills their life. So that's my biggest takeaway for tonight, is seeing that Khalil's making the right decision, and he has all the love and support surrounding him. The Trap's always going to support Khalil and his brother Sammer, the entire 514 team. But yeah, man, you'll see Khalil again. That's for a fact. But if you want to kind of understand what he might have available still, if you want to see, I should have asked him that. I apologize, but please don't hesitate. Head over to 514 Reptiles on Instagram. See what his list looks like. If there's something, dude, he has amazing shit. Doesn't have a lot left from what I know, but he still has stuff. So don't sleep on that. Head over to his Instagram, 514 Reptiles, and tell him you saw the show and hit him up. He's one of my good friends, man. Khalil. Love you, buddy. But yeah, thank you to everyone in the super chats tonight. You guys are awesome. Again, you guys, it means a lot, you guys being here. Don't forget, shout out to the sponsors tonight. Sim Container. All right. If you got eggs, put them inside of the Sim box. #1 egg box company in the game. All right. And then shout out to TJ TOFAUTI Royals of Africa. #1 Mandarin hitter. Relevant in the ball python game. That's right. I said relevant. That's my boy TJ. Give him a follow. And of course, last but not least, Mark Bailey from Mark Bailey Reptiles. OG, triple OG. My favorite ball python breeder. Guys, have a good night. Be ready. Okay, be ready. Monday, we're coming hot. We got a heavy hitter from Florida, part of the V Unit family. And then Tuesday is going to be a heavy episode. Mind you, there's Tinley happening next week. All right, so I got to come correct. I don't ever come soft on a Tinley week. Pause. Just saying. I come correct. So be ready. Tinley coming for you. Even though I'm not going to be there, I'm just saying my episodes are going to get you jacked up for Tinley. All right, and shout out to anyone out there who's getting ready for Tinley. Hope you have a great Tinley. But we'll be talking more be ready for those 2 episodes. All right. And then also check it out. If you're looking for exclusive content, very first link in the description below. Click on it. Join the Trap Talk Patreon family. Over 170 trappers in the Discord. Join the Instagram group chat. And then, of course, Sunday, our very first B-Unit and Trap Family Zoom Sunday throwdown. That's right. Big E, Top G, my dog. It's going down. Again, Khalil, we love you! 514 Reptiles forever. Forever. Have a good night, guys. See you at the top. Wait, before I let you go, hold on. Don't forget, okay? Especially if you missed out, if you had an invitation to Bill's party, couldn't make it, and you kind of got FOMO, well then, right now, set your reminder, head over to the Trap Vlogs, okay? Little insight on how that party went down. It was amazing. Mark Hager hanging out, bunch of heavy hitters hanging out, but either way, set your reminder. And again, Khalil, we love you. I love all my trappers. I'll see you at the top. I'm out.